Warrior Lore. Chapter 12:27. Upon seeing this, many disciples of small sects without the protection of experts immediately ran behind the Hahuan school's formation. However, Du Xiaofu couldn't protect too many people. Those disciples who were close to the formation were all involuntarily sucked into the black vortex. Miserable wails reverberated in the sky as the overwhelming number of figures were swallowed up by the vortex of black light. In an instant, at least a few million figures were involuntarily sent into the air and turned into a bloody mist within the black vortex. The visual impact was enough to make one's soul tremble. Du Xiaofu's gaze turned serious. That terrifying black vortex was like a gate to the devil domain. As more and more figures were swallowed, the devil chi grew stronger and stronger. Sooner or later, everyone would be swallowed. Is there any other way? Otherwise, I'm afraid everyone will be swallowed. Mu Jianchen asked Du Xiaofu from not far away. At this moment, the experts of the Sameng sword sect were protecting the disciples of the Sameng sword sect. Mu Jianchen's body was enveloped in a protective halo like a sword ray. He was barely able to resist the powerful swallowing force. It's already the final moment. If you have any trump cards, use them now. Otherwise, you won't even have the chance to use them. Du Xiaofu frowned. The leaders of the Purifying Evil Alliance this time were all the peak younger generation of the various major sects in the Shang province, including the Sameng sword sect. With Mu Jianchen among them, the Sameng sword sect would definitely have a final trump card. They definitely wouldn't let Mu Jianchen be in danger. The other major sects should also have a final trump card. They wouldn't let anything happen to their peak younger generation. After all, they were the future of those sections. At this moment, they could only hope that the final trump cards of the major sects would be able to resist. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, Mu Jianchen's eyes turned sharp as he said loudly, "Everyone, it's already the final moment. Don't hide anymore. Use your final trump cards. Otherwise, no one will survive this time." As Mu Jianchen's voice fell, an object that was emitting light appeared in his hand. He clenched his 5 fingers and the light was crushed. At the same time, a strange light spread out above Mu Jianchen's head. Boom! The surrounding space trembled for no reason, and a figure wrapped in a dazzling radiance appeared. The surrounding light flickered, and it was an old man who looked to be in his 70s. Sword light rippled around him. Along with the appearance of this silhouette, a terrifying amount of chi expanded. Like an unsheathed sword, it carried with it an incomparable amount of sharpness. When this figure appeared in the sky, no one dared to approach it. They could only look up at it. Even the black light and demonic chi in the surroundings was scattered by it. Boom, boom. At the same time, the world trembled once again. Everclear Island, Mount Jiuhua, and the other 7 great formations shone like the sun and moon in the sky. 7 figures appeared out of thin air. There was a total of 8 figures. If one were to take a closer look, they would appear to be illusory. However, the terrifying auras they emitted were able to directly disperse the demonic chi. With the appearance of these 8 figures, the pressure on the Alliance army was greatly reduced. The terrifying vortex of black light in the sky seemed to have paused for a moment. Following the appearance of these 8 figures, the experts from the Saman Sword Sect, Everclear Island, Jiuhua Mountain, and the rest of the 8 great powers all revealed joyous expressions, as though they had seen hope. It should be a clone of a martial domain realm expert. Du Xiaofu's gaze landed on the 8 figures that had suddenly appeared. As expected, the various great powers all had their final trump cards. The 8 figures were all clones. They were not true martial domain realm experts. Back then, when they were attacked by the devil religion for the first time in the 7-star hall, Du Xiaofu had seen a clone of a devil religion expert. Could this be the demonic gate? Someone has opened the demonic gate. On the Saman sword sect's formation, the clone of the 70-year-old old man raised his head and looked at the vortex of black light. After a moment of doubt, his eyes were filled with shock, as though he had thought of something terrifying. He said to the 7 clones beside him, "Everyone, the demonic gate has been opened. It must be destroyed. Otherwise, the entire Shang province will truly become a demonic domain." The demonic gate is only a legend. I never thought that it would really appear. It must be destroyed. Otherwise, it will be a disaster. A gray-clothed old woman staggered. However, blazing runes filled her eyes as she looked at the vortex of black light. Her gaze was like a sea of fire. It must be destroyed. Otherwise, it will be a disaster. Several clones said solemnly. All of them had grave expressions. Attack! Destroy that demonic being. The 8 clones shouted in unison. Resplendent runes exploded from the 8 clones, bringing along 8 terrifying energies. They turned into 8 resplendent attacks that blotted out the sky and covered the earth as they flew towards the terrifying vortex of black light. Chi-la-la, as the 8 clones flew out, the places that they passed through suddenly exploded. The space along the way was shattered. The terrifying power made it difficult for people to breathe. TSK, you have finally come out. You are the target. The rest are just ants. 8 clones, only this is enough for me to take another step forward. Just as the 8 clones flew towards the vortex of black light, Shuesia smiled. The seals in his hands changed. Just as the 8 clones approached the vortex of black light, a ghostly wail that resounded throughout the 9 underworlds was suddenly emitted from the vortex of black light. Boom! In the next instant, a terrifying demonic chi storm that seemed to have crossed the space from the demonic domain arrived. It pierced through the space and ruthlessly engulfed the 8 clones. Walala! The demonic chi storm was too terrifying. It suddenly exploded with a terrifying suction force and engulfed the 8 clones. Under the vortex of black light, a terrifying airwave spread out. It was a destructive aura that caused the surrounding space to explode. Countless pairs of eyes watched as the 8 clones merely endured for an instant within the destructive demonic chi storm before turning into rune fragments and dissipating. Not good. The gazes of the Alliance turned from surprise to shock in an instant. The 8 clones were the strongest existences below the martial domain realm. If the 8 of them joined forces, it would not be a problem for them to deal with the martial domain realm. However, they did not expect that in an instant, the 8 clones would be completely destroyed. Boom! In the next second, the vortex of black light became even more powerful. It suddenly expanded, and the terrifying suction force spread across the sealed ancient land. The demonic chi raged in the sky. Under the terrifying suction force, the demonic chi engulfed the entire area. The overwhelming Alliance army was once again engulfed involuntarily. The earth-shattering screams continued. The demonic chi engulfed everything. The figures below, the storm, the sand and stones were all swept up. It was as if they had turned into a tornado that destroyed everything. At that moment, even the experts who were protecting the disciples found it difficult to withstand. Some martial honorable realm cultivators were careless and were forcefully engulfed. In the end, they turned into blood mist and disappeared into the vortex of black light. We're dead. No one can escape. This time, we've been completely annihilated. We've been tricked by evil spirits. I don't want to die yet. Save me. Who can save me? Within the terrifying demonic chi storm, there were cries of shock, fear, and mournful screams. Countless sound waves converged. It's getting stronger and stronger. It's impossible to resist. Du Xiaofu expanded his golden rock wings to protect the Hahuan school disciples. At the same time, he was unable to withstand the terrifying pressure. Under the terrifying suction force, Du Xiaofu was unable to resist it. The earth-shattering figures were engulfed by the vortex of black light like locusts. It was as if those figures were not humans or demonic beasts, but insignificant locusts. There were more than millions of them. That terrifying destruction was the true cleansing. It could even be said that it was extinction. Du Xiaofu's eyes trembled. If this terrifying vortex of black light appeared in Shangzhou City, it would cause true destruction. Buzz. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu felt the purple lightning profound cauldron in the god's watchtower vibrating and emitting a buzzing sound. The purple lightning profound cauldron in Du Xiaofu's body seemed to have felt something and wanted to rush out of his body and into the vortex of black light. Du Xiaofu's expression changed drastically. The vortex of black light was about destruction. The purple lightning profound cauldron was actually out of his control and wanted to rush into it. This was definitely not a good thing. Du Xiaofu tried his best to suppress the purple lightning profound cauldron. If the purple lightning profound cauldron was exposed at this moment, it would probably bring him a lot of trouble. The purple lightning profound cauldron was not an ordinary item. It was left behind by that supreme expert and was also related to these sealed ancient lands. At this moment, it seemed to have sensed something. If it rushed in, it might not necessarily be destroyed. Du Xiaofu instantly pondered. The aura of the purple lightning profound cauldron in the god's watchtower grew stronger and stronger. It wanted to rush out of his body immediately. Let's give it a try. Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with golden light and fluctuated with lightning. He flapped his golden rock wings and said to the disciples of the Hahuan school, "Protect yourselves." As soon as he finished speaking, a golden light erupted from his back. Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and soared into the sky like a real golden rock. He wanted to rush into the vortex of black light. What is that demon king trying to do? Is that demon king Du Xiaofu trying to commit suicide? Suddenly, countless people on the ground saw that Du Xiaofu did not retreat. Instead, he wanted to rush into the vortex of black light. They were all astonished. Du Xiaofu, what are you trying to do? You will die. Mu Jianxin was using all his strength to resist the terrifying suction force of the vortex of black light. When he saw Huang Xiaolong's actions, he shouted in astonishment. Du Xiaofu flapped his wings and soared into the sky. He blocked the vortex of black light that blotted out the sky. Golden light spread out in all directions. His golden eyes flashed with lightning. His aura was domineering and intimidating, carrying a trace of tyranny. Du Xiaofu wiped the trace of a bitter smile on his face. He looked at the people on the ground and said with righteousness and heroism, "I can't just watch everyone die. I will go and see if I can break this demonic thing. If I don't enter hell, who will?" As soon as he finished speaking, Du Xiaofu suddenly turned around. He flapped his wings and soared into the sky. He turned into a streak of golden light and flew into the vortex of black light. At this moment, the back of that streak of golden light was emitting a trace of lofty aspiration. Under countless gazes, he suddenly became great. Chapter 12:28. Regardless of success or failure, Arshang Prefecture owes the Demon King a favor. Some of the elders looked at the majestic golden figure, and their eyes trembled. Mu Jianxin's gaze was fixed on the vortex of black light. He didn't say anything and just stared at it without blinking. Sect supervisor wants to destroy that demonic being? The disciples of the all-pleasure sect were all astonished at this moment. Kid, you overestimate yourself. Die. Shuexie controlled the vortex of black light and watched as Du Xiaofu rushed in. Shuexie's gaze was cold, and he didn't move at all. He completely ignored him and didn't take it to heart. Within the terrifying vortex of black light, demonic energy exploded. Du Xiaofu's figure was enveloped by the demonic energy and disappeared instantly. The surroundings were pitch black. When Du Xiaofu entered the vortex of black light, he immediately felt the terrifying demonic energy. It wanted to corrode his primordial spirit and destroy his physical body. Under that terrifying power, even a peak Nirvana realm martial artist would find it difficult to resist. At this moment, within the vortex of black light, Du Xiaofu finally understood why the 8 doppelgangers couldn't withstand a single blow. The 8 doppelgangers were just doppelgangers. Even if they weren't primordial spirit doppelgangers, they were still related to primordial spirits. The strange demonic energy in the vortex was specialized in corroding primordial spirits. Ordinary primordial spirits couldn't withstand a single blow and would be completely corroded by the strange demonic energy. At this moment, the terrifying demonic energy was corroding primordial spirits. Within the Naiwan Palace in Du Xiaofu's mind, his primordial spirit had many protective means to resist the terrifying demonic energy. As for his physical body, Du Xiaofu's body was enveloped by the golden rock wings. He also had the indestructible Xin body and the golden rock body refining technique. It was enough to temporarily resist the demonic energy. At this moment, although Du Xiaofu's cultivation was only at the peak of the transcendent realm, The strength of his physical body had long surpassed his cultivation. The vortex of black light was bottomless. The deeper he went, the stronger the demonic energy and devouring power became. Du Xiaofu was being devoured. He didn't know how deep he went. He felt that his physical body, which could resist the demonic energy in the beginning, was now unable to resist. Ka, the wings on the golden-winged rock began to crack, and the pressure on its body increased. The erosion of Du Xiaofu's primordial spirit was getting stronger and stronger, but everything was still under control. However, if this continued, the demonic aura and crushing force would become stronger and stronger. Du Xiaofu felt that it wouldn't be long before he couldn't hold on anymore. Buzz! Suddenly, the sound of wind and thunder rumbled from within the divine watchtower. At the same time, a purple gold lightning spread out from his body, enveloping Du Xiaofu like a net of light. That was the purple gold profound bomb, and it was filled with a destructive aura. Boom! In the next instant, the purple lightning profound cauldron in Du Xiaofu's divine watchtower seemed to be attracted by something and automatically flew out and floated in front of him. With the appearance of the purple lightning profound cauldron, the entire space within the black light vortex trembled for no reason, and an aura that made one's heart palpitate was quietly released. Rumble. Everything happened in an instant. As the purple lightning profound cauldron flew out, an earth-shattering purple gold profound bomb burst out from within the purple lightning profound cauldron, and a series of thunderous explosions sounded in the surroundings. Chi-la-la-la, dazzling purple lightning burst out, and streaks of purple gold lightning formed completely from the purple gold profound bomb blasted out, shattering the surrounding space. The streaks of purple gold lightning seemed to connect into one as they flew out with a crackling sound. Wherever the lightning passed, the space would also collapse. The lightning was as thick as an arm, and it carried a terrifying destructive force. The purple gold profound bomb was the nemesis of this monstrous demonic aura. The earth-shattering purple gold profound bomb blasted out, directly destroying the demonic aura. The surrounding space was filled with rolling thunderclouds, and streaks of purple gold lightning were like purple gold pythons, bursting out from the purple thunderclouds. The purple gold profound bomb tore through space, covering the sky and earth, destroying everything. In an instant, the entire black light vortex was filled with dazzling purple lightning, and it was on the verge of collapse. In the dark space, the demonic aura was monstrous. This place seemed to be the end of the underground, and the space here also seemed to be frozen and not flowing. A large amount of demonic aura covered the space, and one could only see a streak of black light between the gaps of the demonic aura. The black light was so black that it was shiny, and it faintly revealed a kind of eerie silence, as if a peerless demon was hiding in it. This place was eerie and quiet, and nothing could set foot in it. Only the surrounding demonic aura, which came from nowhere, surged in from all directions and poured into this space. The demonic aura surged, but it was also silent. Woo! Woo! The entire space froze, as if it was another time, but there were faint cries of ghosts and howls of gods. Suddenly, the surrounding space trembled, and the surging demonic aura came to an abrupt stop. However, in this frozen space, a strange face was suddenly reflected in the black light and demonic aura. This face belonged to a middle-aged man. He stretched out a hand and swept away the frozen demonic aura slightly. His eyes were emitting a black light, as if he had merged with this frozen space. Who destroyed my demonic gate? The middle-aged man sighed. When he opened his mouth to speak, there was no trace of warmth. His aura was even colder than ice. Inside the sealed ancient land, Shuexie's face was cold, and the bloodlight in his eyes surged. A group of insignificant ants. Today, none of you can escape. All of you will become my nourishment, and you will help me to take another step forward. Looking at the Alliance army that was still being swallowed by the demonic gate, the demonic aura in the demonic gate was getting thicker and thicker. Shuexie sneered. When all of them were swallowed up, the energy that they turned into would be enough for him to take another step forward. Suddenly, before the sneer on Shuexie's face disappeared, he seemed to feel something, and his face suddenly changed. Boom! All of the Alliance army was shaking. High up in the sky, the terrifying black light vortex suddenly started to shake without any warning. Then, within the black light vortex, purple-gold electric arcs overflowed. Finally, it cracked, and in an instant, the terrifying black light vortex stopped swallowing. Then, it cracked and exploded. Bang, bang, bang. The black light vortex exploded, and the ferocious rune energy spread out. The demonic aura was raging and torrential. At the entrance of the black light vortex, countless people who were about to be swallowed by the vortex escaped death. However, they all fell from the sky like dumplings. The terrifying energy swept out and destroyed the vast land. A large area of space was destroyed. In the end, it turned into a deep, pitch-black darkness that made people's souls shiver. More and more of the terrifying energy was swallowed by the deep, pitch-black space. The terrifying black light vortex gradually disappeared. As the black light vortex exploded like a thunderclap, Shuesie's face was stunned for a moment. Then, he turned pale, and his eyes glowed with terrifying blood light. When the black light vortex exploded, the terrifying swallowing power disappeared, and the pressure on everyone was lifted. Everyone lifted their heads to look at the sky. The black light vortex had disappeared, and the golden figure had disappeared. Where is the Demon King Du Xiaofu? Why is he gone? It must be the Demon King Du Xiaofu. He is the one who broke the demon. He is also dead. It is the Demon King Du Xiaofu who saved us. We owe the Demon King Du Xiaofu a favor. Otherwise, none of us would have survived. The eyes of the Alliance army trembled. The terrifying black light vortex had disappeared, but the golden figure had disappeared. Everyone was moved. Everyone's eyes were filled with gratitude. They were very clear that if it were not for the Demon King Du Xiaofu, all of them would have died. That Demon King actually saved all of us. Our entire Shang prefecture also owes him a favor. The eyes of the strongest elder of the Sa Meng sword sect were also moved. He stood beside Mu Jianchen and said, "That guy will not die so easily." Mu Jianchen looked at the sky. He did not believe that guy would die like that. Swish, the black light dissipated, and the terrifying black hole also gradually disappeared. A golden light slowly flickered in the sky. The golden light flickered more and more. Then, the golden light soared into the sky. It was powerful and overbearing, and a figure appeared in the sky. A pair of golden wings spread out from the back of that figure, and golden light burst out. The golden talisman patterns were like golden waves, submerging the surrounding space. Swish! The gazes below, which had yet to recover from their shock, immediately landed on the golden light figure. Amidst the shock, numerous gazes were dull and trembling. Subsequently, joy surged out from all of them. Someone involuntarily cried out in surprise. The Demon King Du Xiaofu. Chapter 12:29. It's our sect supervisor. The Hehuan school disciples were pleasantly surprised. The golden figure was the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, who had entered the black vortex earlier. "Brat, you destroyed my demon gate. I'll make you beg for death." Shuesie's voice was harsh, and his crimson eyes stared at Du Xiaofu. At that moment, Shuesie could feel that it was this brat who had destroyed his demon gate. Whoosh! Crimson light gathered crazily around him, and a murderous aura that made one's soul tremble rapidly surged. In the next moment, Shuesie's figure rushed toward Du Xiaofu like a ghost, and a crimson light pillar directly enveloped Du Xiaofu. Oomph! Seeing Shuesie rush toward him, Du Xiaofu snorted coldly. His hand seals changed rapidly, and a terrifying aura spread out from his body. It shook the void as if thunder was roaring, and the aura was surging and shaking the void. Domineering Dao. At the same time, Du Xiaofu raised his head and let out a loud roar that sounded like a dragon's roar. It was like a divine elephant's roar. Roar. The sound waves surged like a tsunami, surging in all directions, causing the surrounding heaven and earth to tremble violently. Roar, 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 roar. At that moment, the entire void was roaring, and countless loud roars echoed in the sky. It was like thunder from the 9 heavens, and it reverberated in the mortal world. This shocking roar was enough to shock the heavens and earth, and make ghosts and gods weep. The void was about to collapse, and it made one's heart tremble with fear. Boom, boom, boom. In an instant, the surging sound waves rolled, accompanied by a golden rune energy ripple. It was like a surging ocean, and it caused the entire sealed ancient land to tremble rapidly. The sound waves reverberated in the sky, causing living beings to tremble. Their eyes were filled with pain, and their bodies could not help but explode from the inside out. They were terrified from the depths of their souls. This sound wave was not a simple sound wave, but it contained a type of martial arts. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. A terrifying sound wave swept towards the blood-red light. The two collided, causing the blood-red light to boil. But the blood light was scary. Among the waves, Shuexie's body appeared in front of Du Xiaofu at a speed faster than lightning. It was as if he was not afraid of the scary sonic attack. A blood-light palm print landed in front of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. Suddenly, lightning surged in his eyes, sharp and frightening. His hand seals changed, and golden light enveloped the surroundings. A domineering and fierce aura suddenly swept out. He shook his arm, and a fist wrapped in golden light directly blasted out. Way of the tyrannical fist. The golden fist collided with the bloody palm print, and an astonishing amount of energy swept out. Ding ding! Du Xiaofu was forced to take several steps back. What was even more terrifying was that the blood-red baleful aura was corroding his primordial spirit and body. Fortunately, the most terrifying blood-red baleful qi did not have much effect on Du Xiaofu. But if it had been someone else, not to mention a peak transcendent martial honorable, even a peak chaotic element honorable would have been killed. Seeing that his attack had not taken care of the human youth, Shuexie's monstrous cold intent shot out from his eyes. A vast and mighty baleful aura filled the air. In an instant, it was like a blood-red storm spiraling. Then, it condensed into a blood-red exotic beast shadow, which occupied the air. It looked like a wolf and a tiger, and it pounced towards Du Xiaofu. Roar! A huge, ferocious exotic beast appeared, and its baleful aura filled the sky. It pounced towards Du Xiaofu fiercely. Overbearing way of the sword, Du Xiaofu bellowed, and the purple-gold heavenly fault roared out. A purple-gold sword light, which seemed to have been prepared, swept out. The sword had the strength to split a mountain, and there was nothing fancy about it. But as the sword swept through the air, the space where the sword light passed by almost collapsed, revealing a vacuum. In an instant, a domineering energy pressure that caused one to tremble violently spread out from the purple-gold sword light, causing the entire space to tremble violently. A terrifying sword intent also swept through the sky. The domineering sword aura made one's hair stand on end, and it directly landed on the exotic beast shadow. The ferocious exotic beast swung its claws, tearing the space apart, and its baleful aura covered the sky. When the sword light and the claw collided, there was not much of a sound. Only the terrifying sword light and baleful aura turned into runic energy ripples, which swept through the surrounding space like a tsunami. Crash! Countless sword beams and murderous auras swept across the battlefield. Du Xiaofu's sword beams cleaved apart the strange beast's claw, but they were not damaged at all. There were too many strange beasts, and their huge bodies slammed into Du Xiaofu's body. The golden rock wings on Du Xiaofu's back spread out, and golden light burst out. At the same time, they flapped on the exotic beast shadow. At the same time, the thunder martial vein was activated, and purple electric arcs burst out. Oomph! Under that terrifying impact, Du Xiaofu's body was flung back several steps. A muffled groan could be heard from his throat as he forced a mouthful of sweet liquid down his throat, after which he forcefully swallowed it down and flapped his golden rock wings, stabilizing his body. Crash! The huge exotic beast shadow was also shattered by Du Xiaofu's attack. The terrifying baleful aura was scattered in the air, and it overturned a large area. Many of the weaker cultivators on the ground felt their souls tremble. Half-domain evil spirit, terrifying power. Du Xiaofu stabilized his body and looked at Shuexie in front of him. His eyes were filled with seriousness. Shuexie, who was at the half-domain level, had terrifying power. He was much more terrifying than a martial honorable who was at the peak of the Nirvana realm. He was the strongest existence under the martial domain realm. In addition, this evil spirit was strange and difficult to deal with. Under the terrifying baleful aura, Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. Fortunately, Xue Xie's strongest attribute was the baleful aura. If it was another martial honorable at the peak of the Nirvana realm, he would not have been able to withstand it. Du Xiaofu knew that he had many tricks up his sleeves when it came to resisting the baleful aura. He had gained a lot of advantages. Demon King, Du Xiaofu, is actually so powerful. Many people on the ground looked up. Although they saw that Du Xiaofu was at a disadvantage, they were all shocked. That was a half-domain level evil spirit, and Du Xiaofu was able to withstand it. Looking at the tall and straight figure of the youth, who was holding a peerless weapon, who was floating in the air, everyone, regardless of which faction they were from, was shocked and their hearts were trembling. Many of the peak youths of the factions present were dragons and phoenixes among men. At this moment, they were deeply impressed. It was not that they were weak, but the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, was too powerful. The overbearing youth stood in the air with the peerless weapon in his hand. His golden wings flapped, and he looked like a ferocious bird in human form. How powerful and overbearing he was. Sect Supervisor is invincible. Bring glory to our Haohuan school. The disciples of the Haohuan school felt a deep sense of belonging, and they were proud of it. At this moment, among the Alliance army, Sect Supervisor was sweeping in all directions. He had destroyed the demon sect and stood in front of Xue Xie. How powerful was he? However, Du Xiaofu's gaze was grave, and he did not dare to be careless. Golden light was released all around, and Du Xiaofu seemed to be in a sea of golden light. An overbearing aura, accompanied by purple lightning, filled the air, killing in all directions and looking disdainfully at the sky. Xue Xie looked at Du Xiaofu. The human had a scary, murderous, thunder and lightning aura. It made him feel an instinctive fear. If the young man was a little stronger, he would have been scared of him. What a strange boy. Today, he must die. Xue Xie shouted gloomily. Blood light rippled, causing the heavens and earth to rumble. Blood runes pressed forward, and a bloody light exploded. It carried a monstrous killing intent as it condensed into a long spear. Blood spear breaks the sky. With a loud shout, the blood spear condensed by Xue Xie pierced through the air. The blood spear pierced through the air, destroying everything in its path. It left behind a pitch-black crack in the air, and a terrifying bloody light filled the air. In an instant, it arrived in front of Du Xiaofu. The blood spear was covered with dazzling blood runes, and it looked as if it had been condensed from blood. A terrifying aura that could pierce through space swept out, and when people looked at it, their souls and primordial spirits would be shattered. Not good. Xue Xie is using his full strength. The blood spear is condensed from his original killing intent. I'm afraid it can destroy even a peak Nirvana realm martial venerable. Behind the Sam Meng sword sect's Mu Jinshen, the old man with a vigorous aura who had fought with Xue Xie trembled. At that moment, the terrifying power that filled the air from the blood spear made him tremble. Du Xiaofu's golden wings exploded with dazzling runes. He squinted his eyes, and he felt an extremely dangerous aura from the blood spear. However, the blood spear was not enough to make Du Xiaofu surrender. Immediately, golden light exploded, and the purple-gold heavenly tower in his hand was placed horizontally in front of him. Roar! Faint cries of dragons, tigers, turtles, and birds could be heard. The purple-gold heavenly tower exploded with a purple-gold light, and it directly blocked the blood spear that was distorting space. It's useless. Boy, you're still too weak. Xue Xie sneered. He held the blood spear in one hand and fiercely slammed it against the purple-gold heavenly tower. A terrifying bloody light condensed, and it hit the purple-gold heavenly tower like lightning. Go! Du Xiaofu shouted. His thunder martial veins were fully activated, and lightning flashed and thunder roared behind him. Purple lightning covered the purple-gold heavenly tower. Boom! A terrifying murderous aura descended. It was magnificent and desolate, and it covered the sky and covered the earth. It swept over the blood spear. Walala. When the two collided, there was no earth-shattering sound of energy. There was only the collision of the murderous aura and the cold, destructive aura. It exploded into pieces of space and dazzling light arcs. Walala. However, the collision did not last long. The terrifying murderous aura affected the primordial spirit and the physical body. A huge force swept over, and Du Xiaofu finally spat out a mouthful of pale golden blood. His body was instantly pushed back, and he fell heavily on a huge mountain. Crack! The purple-gold heavenly tower was inserted into the rocks of the mountain peak. A terrifying force struck the huge mountain, and the rocks around the huge mountain peak were instantly covered in cracks. Then, with a rumbling sound, the entire mountain was turned into fine powder. Du Xiaofu's body was still floating in the air, and he maintained the position where he had just shaken off the mountain. Lightning flashed in his eyes, and the golden wings on his back were flat. He was like a baby pung that was injured and waiting to fight back. Thud, thud. Shuexie's body was pushed back a few steps, and the blood spear in his hand was destroyed. The terrifying power of the thunder and lightning was like Shuexie's natural nemesis. It reduced Shuexie's power greatly, and his mind was trembling in fear. This kid is strange. He must die. Shuexie instantly jumped out again. He did not know why, but he was afraid of the young man. He wanted to kill him immediately. Swoosh! Shuexie's body turned into a bloodlight, and with a series of afterimages, he instantly appeared in front of Du Xiaofu. A blood-light palm print, which looked like it was dripping with blood, slammed toward Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu's lightning-like eyes stared fixedly at the bloody palm, and a frightening ruthlessness surged out of his lightning-like eyes. Even at this moment, Du Xiaofu did not think that he could not fight back. At least, he could still fight to the death. Suddenly, at the same time that Du Xiaofu's eyes surged with a ruthless and terrifying gaze, a voice that was like the sound of nature quietly spread out from the sky. He will not die today. Chapter 1230. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. As the heavenly voice fell, a faint, fiery aura spread through the air, bringing with it a faint fragrance. A beautiful figure slowly appeared. She wore a purple robe, accentuating her alluring curves. The beautiful woman slightly raised her eyes. Her eyes were like purple suns, seemingly able to see through everything in the world. With a slight shake of her wrist, a handprint wrapped in purple flames condensed on her jade-like palm. Blazing purple flames erupted like purple magma, incomparably hot, distorting the space and directly slapping on the former's bloody palm print. Boom! When the two collided, intense energy fluctuations, a fiery aura, and shattered bloody runes spread out in a ring shape. It was as if a meteor had exploded above, and a sea of flames fell, filling the sky with a murderous aura. Chi-la-la, the murderous aura that covered the sky was destroyed, and Shuexie's figure retreated continuously. His bloody eyes were filled with shock. A terrifying aura engulfed the area. Du Xiaofu inclined his head and stared at the woman who had suddenly appeared in front of him. Her aura was otherworldly, and her violet hair cascaded down her shoulders, all the way to her perky buttocks. Her long and slender legs outlined the curves of a mature woman. It's her. Du Xiaofu's gaze suddenly trembled. Just by looking at her back, he knew who she was. Other than the purple flame demonic phoenix, there was no one else. After repelling Shuexie, the woman slowly turned her head. The gaze in her purple eyes was ethereal and dazzling like fireworks. When the countless eyes of the Alliance saw the woman in front of them, their hearts all trembled. This was a woman with a moving appearance, a seductive demeanor, and an aura of a banished immortal. Her charm was enough to make any man lose his soul. This alluring woman was none other than the purple flame demonic phoenix. Could it be that she broke through? Du Xiaofu looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix. Sensing the aura on her body, his heart trembled inwardly. Du Xiaofu sensed that the purple flame fiendish phoenix's aura was already qualitatively different from the last time they met. Du Xiaofu guessed that the purple flame fiendish phoenix had already broken through that half-step barrier and stepped into the true beast region. The purple eyes of the purple flame demonic phoenix looked at Du Xiaofu. Its purple eyes moved slightly, and its voice was ethereal. It seems that every time I see you, you are in trouble. Where is little Xingxing? Little star. Hearing this, Du Xiaofu's eyes immediately darkened. There was still no news of little Xingxing. Seeing Du Xiaofu's reaction, the purple flame demonic phoenix's face immediately darkened. Her voice became cold as she looked at Du Xiaofu and said, I've been to the central province and the stone city. Finally, I got the news that you might be at the Hahuan school in Shang province. I only came here after going to the Hahuan school. If anything happens to little Xingxing, I'll teach you a lesson. After the purple flame demonic phoenix's words, people could not help but shiver from the bottom of their hearts. Under that peerless appearance, she was definitely cold and ruthless. Du Xiaofu looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix calmly. The corner of his mouth curled up and he said, It's a long story. I'll tell you later. I'm also looking for little Xingxing. If anything happens to little Xingxing, I won't let you go. The purple flame demonic phoenix stared at Du Xiaofu. Her temperament was complicated, and her purple eyes suddenly became demonic. You are from the Beast clan. Why do you have to get involved in the affairs of humans? Isn't it enough that humans are riding on top of you beasts? Xuexia, who had been pushed back, looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix. Seeing that the purple-robed Beast clan woman seemed to be estranged from the human brat, his bloody eyes fluctuated, and he secretly sneered. My affairs are not for an evil creature like you to talk about. You're looking for death. The purple flame demonic phoenix's eyes darkened. Her gloomy face suddenly changed. Suddenly, a purple light spread out from her body. The purple flames around her fluctuated, and the entire area was filled with rolling purple flames. The rolling purple flames were like a giant sea of purple flames. They surrounded the area and went straight for Xuexia. Bastard! Xuexia's face changed. He did not think that one sentence would cause the Beast clan woman to attack him. The purple flames made him absolutely afraid. Her aura was that of a real Beast realm being. Suddenly, a bloody light exploded from Xuexia's body. It covered the sky and the earth and blocked the purple flames around him. Now that the demon gate had been destroyed, he was truly afraid. At the same time, Xuexia looked up into the sky and shouted, Inlei, are you still not going to come out? If everything goes to waste, you won't be able to escape. Hearing Xuexia's shout, Du Xiaofu was shocked. Then, his heart sank. Du Xiaofu was no stranger to the Inlei old man. He did not expect these evil spirits to be related to the Inlei old man. If that was the case, these evil spirits were definitely related to the devil religion. Xuexia, hold on for a while. I'll deal with that kid first. He's the one we've been looking for. While these thoughts were swirling in Du Xiaofu's mind, a gloomy voice suddenly rang out in the sky. Then, an old man in a yellow robe with a gloomy face appeared in the sky. His eyes flickered with lightning and his aura was terrifying. Inlei old man. Du Xiaofu's eyes suddenly shone with a terrifying golden light. It was his old enemy, the Inlei old man, another half-region expert. The Alliance army's eyes trembled. The terrifying lightning aura descended. It was another half-region expert. Kid, so you've escaped to Shang Prefecture. Unfortunately, your luck isn't too good. Today, you've fallen into my hands again. The Inlei old man stared at Du Xiaofu. A faint chill surged out of him as he sneered. Where's my master now? Du Xiaofu took a few steps forward and flapped his golden wings. His hair fluttered in the wind as he held the purple-gold heavenly tower in his hand. He exuded a domineering aura that swept through the surroundings. His master, the revered artifact, was captured by the devil religion. The destruction of Tianwu Academy and the massacre of the Seven-Star Hall were all related to the devil religion. Now that he had met his enemy, Du Xiaofu's eyes were filled with coldness. Don't worry, you'll be able to meet your master soon. The Inlei old man sneered with a gloomy expression. He couldn't let go of this opportunity. He had to capture that kid. When the time came, it would definitely be a great achievement. If you're not going to tell me, then I'll ask myself. Du Xiaofu's eyes were cold as he stared at the Inlei old man. He stomped his feet on the void and flapped his wings. He swooped down like a great rock and slashed down with the purple-gold heavenly tower. Facing the Inlay old man, Du Xiaofu didn't conceal his killing intent. He acted swiftly and mercilessly. The Inlay old man's expression changed when he saw Du Xiaofu's sword. It had only been a year since the destruction of the Seven-Star Hall. He didn't expect that the kid's strength had increased so much. However, the Inlay old man wasn't afraid. Lightning flashed in his eyes, and he looked cold and arrogant. The runes in his hand glowed brightly. He turned his palm into a claw, and a lightning claw print twisted the void and grabbed at the terrifying sword radiance. Du Xiaofu was filled with killing intent. However, he was clear-headed. The Inlay old man was a half-realm expert, and his strength wasn't below Xuexie's. He couldn't even suppress the Inlay old man like he suppressed Xuexie. Therefore, the Inlay old man was more difficult to deal with than Xuexie. Therefore, Du Xiaofu didn't fight recklessly. When he saw the Inlay old man's claw twisting the void and grabbing at him, his eyes turned cold. He didn't say anything. The purple-gold heavenly fault in his hand changed, and he drew an arc suddenly. The sword move changed. The purple-gold sword radiance soared and turned into dozens of overbearing sword radiances. They pierced through the void and rushed toward the Inlay old man kid. It's not enough. The Inlay old man sneered. He changed his hand gestures and activated several divine senses. Runes filled the sky and thunder destroyed the dozens of overbearing sword radiances. Sumeru illusory realm. Du Xiaofu moved like a ghost and approached the Inlay old man. He activated his brother Zhun Qingchuan's unique skill, Sumeru illusory realm, with the strength of a late 8-star spiritual talisman master at the Sumeru illusory realm. With Du Xiaofu's terrifying primordial spirit power, he could trap a peak Nirvana realm martial venerable in the Sumeru illusory realm. The half-region was not the real martial region, so the Inlay old man would be affected. It could be said that Du Xiaofu's strength in talisman Taoism was higher than that in martial arts, except for his freakish physical body. This was mainly in the primordial spirit. Du Xiaofu had gained a lot of amazing benefits recently. Sky-shaking wings. When the Sumeru illusory realm was activated, Du Xiaofu swept the golden wings of the rock. Layers of golden light runes burst out and swept toward the Inlay old man. In the Sumeru illusory realm, the Inlay old man was affected. However, when the layers of overbearing golden light runes swept toward him, he began to come to his senses. In a panic, a bolt of lightning burst out from his body and enveloped him tightly. Rumble. The golden light runes collided with the lightning bolt. A blazing light burst out in midair and flooded a large area of the void. Thump, thump. The Inlay old man was forced back dozens of feet in a panic before he could stabilize his body. His old face became extremely cold at this moment. The Thunder old man's eyes were gloomy and cold. He did not expect to be at a disadvantage in front of Du Xiaofu. Kid, I don't want to play with you anymore. Let's end this. The Inlay old man shouted coldly. He formed a seal with his hands. From the surface of his body, bolts of lightning spread out and filled the sky with electric arcs. Chi. In the end, the Inlay old man activated the lightning in the sky and turned it into a huge lightning claw. It tore through the void and grabbed at Du Xiaofu. In the terrifying electric arcs, the claw descended like a meteor. Chapter 1231. At that moment, Du Xiaofu's hand seals were already flying in the air. Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven, borrow the power of the Qian Dragon. As he shouted, a golden light burst out from Du Xiaofu's body and shot into the sky. At lightning speed, it condensed into 4 giant dragon shadows. Roar, 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 roar. The 4 giant dragons roared and their roars filled the sky. At that moment, Du Xiaofu was activating the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven of the Universe Dragon Tiger technique. It could increase his strength by a lot in a short period of time. According to the Crazy Region Master, the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven was necessary for escaping. It was a trump card that could oppress opponents of the same cultivation level. The 4 giant dragons appeared and instantly turned into 4 energy ribbons. They landed on Du Xiaofu's body like lightning. Boom. At that moment, Du Xiaofu's peak transcendent martial honorable aura soared like a rocket. It only stopped when his aura reached the middle chaotic element, honorable realm. From the peak transcendent martial honorable realm to the middle chaotic element honorable realm to the martial honorable realm, this increase was absolutely terrifying. Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven, that's the remarkable ability of the Universe Dragon Tiger technique. The supervisor is activating our Hahuan School's trump card. Below, the venerable ice dragon's eyes trembled. He had only heard of the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven, but had never seen it. It was said that if one could activate the power of the 9 dragons, their strength would increase to a terrifying level. However, this method of temporarily increasing one's cultivation base would become less effective as one's strength increased. At the same time, the weaker one's physical body was, the more limited the amount of energy they could withstand. It was said that only those with a stronger physical body would have the chance to activate the power of the 9 dragons. Otherwise, the person activating the power of the 9 dragons would not be able to withstand it. Is this the legendary technique of the Qingkuan Dragon Tiger technique? The Hahuan school indeed has a strong foundation. Mu Jianxin, who was in the air below, could not help but tremble when he saw Du Xiaofu's soaring aura. It was not that the Saman Sword sect did not have any methods to temporarily raise one's cultivation level. However, generally speaking, it was only useful when one's cultivation level was below the martial emperor level. For someone like Du Xiaofu, who had reached the level of a transcendent martial honorable, to be able to temporarily raise his strength by such a large margin, it was enough to show how extraordinary his cultivation technique was. As Du Xiaofu activated the Mad Dragon Ninth Heaven, his strength skyrocketed. At the same time, the Een Thunder Old Man's claw appeared in front of him. Everything happened as fast as lightning. Du Xiaofu's gaze was powerful as the hand seals continued to condense at lightning speed. The profound qi in his body was like a torrential flood as it followed the hand seals and instantly condensed into a golden hand seal in front of his palm. The light was gorgeous, as if it was a dazzling golden color. The golden hand seal was not only a martial technique, but a martial technique. It seemed to contain the mysteries of the heavens and the earth, as well as the mysteries of yin and yang. Countless people could not help but feel frightened, and their souls trembled when they looked at it. Xiaoyang Seal. In the blink of an eye, Du Xiaofu bellowed as the golden palm imprint hovered above his palm. A powerful energy pressure emanated from it. The palm seal domineeringly cut through the sky. In a flash, it violently collided with the Een Thunder Old Man's claw seal. The lightning claw seal and the golden hand seal instantly collided with a loud bang under the gazes of many people. A shocking sound of energy suddenly resounded in the void, bang. At the center of the energy storm, the surrounding space seemed to have collapsed into a huge, pitch-black hole. Terrifying rune energy ripples swept out like a stormy sea, turning into an energy storm that only came to a sudden stop in the distance. Then, it dissipated under countless astonished gazes, and everything returned to normal. Deng deng! Du Xiaofu's body was shaken back again as a muffled groan came from his throat. Flapping his wings, he stomped on the void, causing a burst of golden light to erupt. Du Xiaofu, who was hundreds of feet away, stabilized his body. The Een Thunder Old Man's body also staggered at this moment. His eyes trembled and became colder. What a powerful demon king! Seeing that Du Xiaofu had actually resisted a half-domain expert head-on, although he was still at a disadvantage, it was enough to shock everyone present. Kid, you have surprised me again and again. But that's it. It can't change the fact. The Een Thunder Old Man frowned when he felt that Du Xiaofu's aura had skyrocketed, and that extremely powerful attack just now was enough to fight a Nirvana martial artist head-on without being defeated. In the next instant, the Een Lightning Old Man shook his yellow robe after his gloomy words sounded. His sleeve was swung, and one could hear the sizzling sound of electric arcs shuttling through the air. Soon after, electric arcs shot towards Du Xiaofu from all directions like poisonous snakes. Du Xiaofu's eyes darkened. The golden light around his body had unknowingly turned into a dazzling white divine light. In an instant, 34 array flags appeared in his palm. The array flags twisted the void and flew out rapidly. Boom! As the array flags flew out, They instantly formed a mysterious light screen that enveloped a vast area of space. Dazzling runes were dazzling, and the space was frozen and distorted. Rumble, lightning and thunder could be faintly seen on the array, accompanied by rolling dark clouds. The 34 formation flags were an 8-star primordial chaos talisman formation, which Du Xiaofu quickly set up. With his current strength and the strength of his Yuan spirit, Du Xiaofu felt that it would not be much of a problem for him to set up an 8-star Nirvana symbol array. He had also comprehended an 8-star Nirvana symbol array on the top floor of the Haihuan School's universe building. However, Du Xiaofu did not have enough time to set up an 8-star Nirvana symbol array in a hurry. The 8-star origin symbol array was instantly set up and bound the Yin Thunder Old Man within it. Du Xiaofu's face instantly turned pale, but he did not enter the array. The white divine light was withdrawn, and golden light flickered. Many hand seals flew rapidly. Chila. As Du Xiaofu's hand seals were formed, waves of unusual wild and violent energy ripples suddenly rippled in the surrounding space. Threads of seemingly solid golden energy and silver-white energy suddenly seeped out from the empty space, causing the space to distort slightly at this moment. In the next instant, one of Du Xiaofu's palms was resplendent with golden light, while the other was dazzling with silver light. They were like yin and yang, one hard and one soft. The golden palm seal was as resplendent as gold. The silver-white energy palm seal was suffused with strange silver-white runes. From afar, it looked like layers of silver-white lightning lingered around it. Boom! As the two palm seals floated in his hands, an extremely frightening energy overflowed from each of them, causing the surrounding space to tremble. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was activating the Shaoyang seal and the Extreme Yin seal at the same time. The mysterious 4 images seal could be trained individually, or the seals could be stacked, increasing its power by several times. At this moment, Du Xiaofu wanted to take a risk and give it a try. In terms of power, the Shaoyang seal alone was not much weaker than the tyrannical fist path. If he merged the Extreme Yin seal at this moment, it might be able to increase its power significantly, even surpassing the tyrannical fist path. The Tao of heaven and earth uses yin and yang to create all things. Heaven and earth, sun and moon, lightning, wind and rain, male and female, hard and soft, movement and stillness. All things are divided into yin and yang. Du Xiaofu muttered softly. His mouth muttered some words as he controlled the 2 hand seals to slowly merge. Chapter 1232. Rumble. In front of him, the Yin Thunder Old Man was trying his best to break the formation. Shuexia was attacked by the purple flame demonic phoenix. He was trapped in the sea of purple flames. His situation was terrible. The blood-light sea around him was being burned and evaporated. It became smaller and smaller. That Demon King seems to be fusing with some trump card. All eyes on the ground fell on Du Xiaofu. 2 terrifying handprints were getting closer and closer to each other, bursting with a terrifying aura. Boom! At the instant when the 2 hand imprints merged, a great and terrifying force rebounded out. It was as if 2 magnets of the same pole had collided. The rebound caused the space to tremble incessantly. Pucci, Du Xiaofu immediately spat out a mouthful of blood under the impact of such a terrifying rebound force. His face instantly turned pale, and the golden and silver palms almost collapsed. Kaka. Inside the talisman array, the Yin Thunder Old Man was using all his strength to forcefully break it. Muffled rumbling noises kept ringing out, causing the talisman array to shake and begin to crack. Why can't I succeed? There's no time. I must succeed. Du Xiaofu sensed everything in the array glyphs. With a solemn look, he continued to clench his teeth and fuse the 2 rebounded palm prints. There were a total of 4 seals in the mysterious yellow 4-elephant seal. The 4 seals were connected and could form the mysterious yellow emperor seal. Its power was enough to suppress all living things and move mountains and seas. However, the 4 seals could also be stacked on top of each other. It was just that it was not easy to cultivate a single seal, let alone fusing 2 seals together. The mysterious 4-elephant seal was not an ordinary martial skill, but a martial art. The The seal contained the profound meaning of heaven and earth, as well as the mysteries of yin and yang. At this moment, Du Xiaofu wanted to fuse the two seals, which was more difficult than he had expected. After the first failure, Du Xiaofu had no other choice. The 8-star primordial chaos talisman array could not stop the Yin Thunder Old Man for too long. Moreover, Du Xiaofu's goal was not to stop the Yin Thunder Elder, but to get information about his master, the venerable weapon master. Qi. Du Xiaofu continued to fuse the two seals as the profound qi in his body fluctuated and communicated with the energy of heaven and earth. At this moment, his hands seemed to contain yin and yang, tai qi, the birth of the four symbols, and the stability of the 8 directions. At this moment, Du Xiaofu's fusion of the two seals was complex and profound, encompassing and condensing everything, forming a unique and tyrannical martial art. His Xian Qi surged in his body, connecting with earth and heaven energy. Various powers Upanishads were connected. Du Xiaofu let go of everything. The two handprints merged for the second time and gradually overlapped with each other. Finally, they formed a faint golden and silver palm print. Rumble. The talisman array exploded loudly, and the entire sky trembled. More and more cracks appeared on the array. Finally, the 8-star primordial chaos talisman array shattered under the Yin Thunder Old Man's full power. Rumble. The talisman array was forcibly shattered, causing the earth to quake and the mountains to shake. A terrifying aura swept out, and the ground below also crumbled and cracked, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Pucci. The moment the talisman array shattered, Du Xiaofu spat out another mouthful of blood. Brat, die. It was also at this moment that the Yin Thunder Old Man's face turned extremely gloomy and pale. His figure flashed out like a ghost and pounced towards Du Xiaofu, who was condensing the fusion handprints. A powerful lightning energy swept out, distorting the surrounding space into nothingness. Everyone, buy some time for the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. Otherwise, all of us will be in a desperate situation today. The strongest old man from the Saman Sword sect shouted loudly. A powerful aura burst out and soared into the sky. Buy some time for the Demon King, Du Xiaofu. The top experts from the various major powers immediately leaped out. Waves of energy swept out as they activated all sorts of divine abilities with all their might. Rumble. Numerous attacks that contained powerful energy were accompanied by waves of low and deep energy explosions. Immediately, they blasted towards the Yin Lightning Old Man in succession. A mantis trying to stop a chariot. You're overestimating yourself. The face of the Yin Lightning Old Man, whose face was pale, turned completely dark and cold when he saw everyone attacking him. His yellow robe shook, and the large amount of lightning energy that was originally attacking Du Xiaofu immediately swept towards the people below with lightning-like speed. Bang! 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 Waves of energy collided, and the attacks of the experts from the various major powers collapsed upon contact. Under the Yin Thunder Old Man's terrifying lightning energy, figures spat out blood and fell down, smashing into the ground and the mountain peak, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to collapse. Pucci, the honored ice dragon, also rushed out with everyone, but in the end, he fell down the mountain peak in an extremely miserable manner. Bastard! The people from the various major powers gritted their teeth when they saw that the elders of their sects were not a match for the old man. Their eyes were cold. Fight it out with him, and buy some time for the Demon King. Some people with fiery tempers and extraordinary strength immediately rushed forward with angry faces, wanting to join forces to deal with the Yin Thunder Old Man. You're just ants. Go to hell. The Yin Thunder Old Man sneered disdainfully. He waved his hand, and an earth-shattering lightning swept out. The terrifying lightning energy swept across the sky and easily knocked down the figures. Many of them turned into blood mist in midair. A bunch of ants. Who dares to come forward to die? The Yin Thunder Old Man stood proudly in the void. Electric arcs fluctuated around him, and the terrifying aura of a half-domain was undoubtedly revealed. Bastard! Hearing the Yin Thunder Old Man's disdainful and humiliating words, the Alliance army was furious. Their faces turned red, but they did not dare to go forward. No one was truly unafraid of death. However, the enlightening old man's expression suddenly changed after his words sounded. An energy ripple that caused his heart to palpitate suddenly appeared in front of him. The energy fluctuation was too terrifying. A trace of shock flashed across the thunder old man's eyes, and he immediately raised his head to look. Hence, the thunder old man saw Du Xiaofu's hands a short distance in front of him. A golden palm and a silver-white palm had quietly merged together at an unknown time. As the two palms merged, a frightening power soared in an instant, and a terrifying energy fluctuation spread out from it. The terrifying power caused the thunder old man's expression to change drastically. How can it be so powerful? The thunder old man's heart trembled. He had just experienced one of the palm seals, but he did not expect its power to soar to such a terrifying level. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was expressionless as he looked at the thunder old man, whose expression had changed drastically. The corners of his mouth were curled in a sinister manner. His face was pale, and he appeared ferocious and icy cold. After finally merging the Xiaoyang seal and the Extreme seal, the combined power of the two seals had increased by more than 10 times. This caused Du Xiaofu to be shocked. However, the two merged seals had also devoured all the energy within Du Xiaofu's body. Thunder old man, it's my turn now. Du Xiaofu cried out loudly. His foot stomped on the air, and the merged palm seal in his hand immediately slammed towards the thunder old man. The palm was suffused with dazzling gold and silver radiance, and it was crystalline, translucent, and extremely beautiful like a piece of jade. It tore through space and expanded along with the wind, and it instantly transformed into an enormous palm that was 300 m in size. It carried a terrifying force of destruction as it effused out from within it, and it covered the heavens and the earth as it smashed down. The thunder old man's expression changed drastically when he saw the palm seal pressing down and sealing the surrounding space. There was no way to dodge it. The destructive force that spread from it was overbearing and arrogant. It caused the thunder old man to feel a chill in his heart. Hell lightning devouring palm. The thunder old man's expression changed drastically. However, he was also an absolute expert. He did not lose the ability to react. On the contrary, he began to react instantly. A lightning palm seal immediately erupted. Ayo! A lightning palm seal erupted from the thunder old man's palm. A lightning beast shadow soared into the sky. It looked like a dragon and a lion. Lightning danced in the sky as it roared. It was accompanied by lightning that covered the sky as it collided with the palm seal. Hell lightning devouring palm. This was the thunder old man's famous move. Its power was extremely terrifying. Many famous experts had died under the hell lightning devouring palm. Everything happened in an instant. The two of them collided in an instant, causing the space around them to freeze. Even the purple flame demonic phoenix, who was suppressing Shui Xie in the distance, couldn't catch its breath and looked over from afar. Then, in front of everyone's shocked gazes, the two of them collided. Two waves of energy instantly erupted and a thunderous explosion resounded across the sky. Boom! The explosion reverberated and the entire sealed ancient land trembled due to the energy explosion. The mountains and the land within 1,000 feet of the ground collapsed and cracked. Bang, bang, bang. The space below exploded one after another. Everything was destroyed. The vast land turned into a desert. The rocks turned into dust and gravel shot out. Such a terrifying collision. The power of the collision was so strong. It's too terrifying. I'm afraid that an ordinary Nirvana martial honorable would not even have a corpse left if he was swept into it. Demon King Du Xiaofu's martial skill is so overbearing. The top experts from various factions climbed up from the ground and looked at the terrifying destructive attack in the sky. Their throats were boiling as they swallowed their saliva. Chapter 1233. As the terrifying energy spread out, two voices were sent flying. Puchi! Du Xiaofu spat out a mouthful of golden blood and his face was extremely pale. Deng deng! The lightning old man was also sent flying. He took a dozen steps back and only managed to stabilize his body after crossing 100 feet. Then, he spat out a mouthful of blood. Everyone's eyes froze in shock. No one could believe that the half-domain level in Thunder Old Man was actually injured by Du Xiaofu in a head-on clash. Although the Demon King, Du Xiaofu, was at a disadvantage, it was an honorable defeat. Abnormal. That guy is too abnormal. How many trump cards does he have? Mu Jianxin was shocked. He sucked in a breath of cold air as he looked at the tall figure that had stabilized himself. With the cultivation of a peak transcendent martial honorable, he had injured a half-domain expert. How abnormal and terrifying was that? This Demon King is too terrifying. The experts of the various powers were astounded. At this moment, that tall figure deeply shocked the hearts of everyone, and it was imprinted in the depths of their minds and refused to disperse. It's still not enough. A half-domain is too strong. Du Xiaofu stabilized his body and looked at the enlightening old man in front of him. He wiped the golden blood at the corner of his mouth with his long sleeve. His aura was weak and his face was pale. After fusing the two seals, his power had increased greatly. However, he did not manage to injure the enlightening old man. This made Du Xiaofu even more solemn. A half-domain cultivation was stronger than Du Xiaofu had imagined. This kid is getting more and more abnormal. A transcendent martial honorable can actually use such strength. The enlightening old man's face was pale. He wiped the blood at the corner of his mouth, and his heart was filled with shock. Finally, his eyes were filled with ruthlessness again. For the Thunder Old Man, Du Xiaofu was too strange. He had not been able to deal with Du Xiaofu many times, and had let Du Xiaofu escape several times. Every time he met Du Xiaofu again, Du Xiaofu's strength would soar. This time, he must not miss this opportunity. Otherwise, the next time he met Du Xiaofu, he would not be able to deal with Du Xiaofu. Thunder Old Man, help me, help me. In the distance, the purple flame was burning the space. Under that scorching aura, the bloodlight sea on Shuexie's body shrank to less than 10 meters wide. He was frightened. He screamed at the Thunder Old Man for help. Hold on a little longer. That Du Xiaofu brat is strange. I'll deal with him first. The Thunder Elder glanced at Shuexie, but he didn't pay much attention to him. As soon as he finished speaking, he pounced on Du Xiaofu. Mysterious runes burst out from his body. A ferocious lightning beast that looked like a dragon and a lion rushed out, roaring like a dragon. Roar! This lightning beast was exactly the same as the one in the Nether Thunder skeleton that the Thunder Old Man had used before. It was ferocious and its body was covered with dragon scales. It was the Thunder Old Man's pulse soul, the ancient lightning skeleton. Rumor had it that it was the bloodline of Bayan was the direct descendant of the dragons. Their bloodline was absolutely powerful. In order to capture Du Xiaofu directly without any accidents, the Thunder Old Man had activated his pulse soul. The Thunder Old Man wanted to capture Du Xiaofu completely. He couldn't afford to make any more mistakes. Otherwise, after the Beast Realm woman from the Beast Clan took care of Shuexie, he wouldn't have another chance. Roar! The primordial lightning swanee was like a living creature. Wherever it roared, the space in front of it would explode with a crash, revealing a huge spatial crack, revealing a pitch-black light. The space was torn apart by the ancient lightning skeleton. With a terrifying power, it swept toward Du Xiaofu like lightning. Seeing that the Thunder Old Man had activated his pulse soul, Du Xiaofu's eyes turned solemn. However, he wouldn't just let himself be captured. He formed a hand seal and covered it with golden light. He was going to fight with all his might. Do you really think that a half-realm evil creature can stop me? Even if he dies, it won't be in your hands. Go away. A voice that was clear and chilly like the sound of nature resounded in the blink of an eye, and then a strand of enormous violet flames pierced through space and instantly soared over from afar. Coo! The surging flames illuminated the sky in a dazzling and gorgeous manner. The purple runes were accompanied by dense steam, and the blazing heat soared into the sky. The purple light was resplendent as it transformed into an enormous purple flame demonic phoenix that was several hundred meters in size. It directly pounced on the ancient lightning swanee. Sizzle! The collision only lasted for an instant. The ancient lightning skeleton that the Thunder Old Man had activated was destroyed. It was torn into pieces by the purple-flamed demonic phoenix shadow. In the end, it dissipated in the rolling purple flames. Puffed! The Thunder Old Man spat out a mouthful of blood. His eyes were filled with shock. There was no doubt that he had underestimated his opponent. Purple flame demonic phoenix. The Thunder Old Man's eyes trembled. His face was extremely gloomy. He had underestimated the strength of a true beast domain expert and a terrifying purple flame demonic phoenix. The purple flame demonic phoenix's interference made Du Xiaofu, who was about to fight with all his might, immediately look at the purple flame demonic phoenix. A true beast domain expert was truly terrifying. In front of Du Xiaofu, in the space battlefield, in the rolling purple sea of fire, the sea of blood-red light around Shuexie was completely burned. The bloody runes that Shuexie had activated were burned into ashes. The bloody chi was completely useless against the purple flame demonic phoenix's purple flames. It was even fearful of the purple flame demonic phoenix. The blazing purple flames were also the nemesis of evil beings. Bang! As the sea of bloody light was incinerated, the purple flame demonic phoenix's shadow flew out. Her slender hand shook and her palm began to glow. It was translucent and purple like a beautiful purple jade. With a boom, the space trembled and her palm landed on Shuexie's body. The purple flames on her palm surged and the blazing flames soared into the sky. Shuexie's body staggered and the bloody light on his body was scattered. His eyes were filled with shock. Die! The purple flame demonic phoenix shook her slender hand. Her slender fingers bent slightly and a claw of purple flames twisted the void. It was like an invisible purple flame cage. It was a terrifying scene. It turned into a real purple flame demonic phoenix claw and suddenly grabbed at Shuexie. Oh no! Shuexie was restrained in every way. In front of the purple flame demonic phoenix, he did not have much power to fight back. At that moment, the terrifying bloody light in his eyes trembled and he was filled with shock. It is the purple flame demonic phoenix clan. Does this clan still have a bloodline? Suddenly, at that moment, in the sky, the wind blew and the clouds surged. Dark clouds rolled. In an instant, the demonic chi filled the sky. Lightning flashed and thunder roared. Suddenly, the black lightning in the sky sent chills down people's spines. Their primordial spirits trembled. A huge demonic chi turned into a black light and fell from the sky. It was like a curtain of black light and demonic chi was falling from the sky. It was a terrifying scene. The black light fell directly on the purple flame demonic phoenix's claw and quietly destroyed it. Boom! A terrifying demonic chi poured out and exploded into a blinding black light. It spread out like thunder and instantly hit the purple flame demonic phoenix's body. Puff! The purple flame demonic phoenix's body was pushed back. On her beautiful face, she spat out a mouthful of blood. She frowned, and her beautiful eyes suddenly became dignified. The sudden appearance of the black light and demonic chi made Shuexie's eyes light up with joy. He was pleasantly surprised. Trash. Even the demonic gate can have problems. In the sky, in the rolling demonic chi, a cold and emotionless voice spread out. The black light then turned into a black demonic claw. In front of Shuexie's surprised eyes, the claw pierced through Shuexie's body and destroyed him. No, Shuexie's surprised eyes froze. In an instant, they were filled with fear. A bright blood light talisman flew out from his broken body. What's the use of keeping you alive? The emotionless voice fell again. The demonic chi was strange like lightning. It wrapped around the bright blood light talisman and flew back into the rolling demonic chi in the sky. You lied to me. You lied to me. Ah! Shuexie's pitiful cry was heard. It was filled with unwillingness and hatred. Finally, it disappeared. Bang! 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 At that moment, in the sealed ancient land, when the demonic chi poured out from the sky, a terrifying pressure spread out. In the Alliance army below, many people knelt on the ground as their legs gave way. Under the terrifying pressure, the experts around couldn't fight back. Their bodies went soft and their primordial spirits trembled uneasily. Greetings to the demonic king. Congratulations on waking up. When the Thunder old man saw the scene before him, he was pleasantly surprised. He knelt down in the void and bowed to the sky. The voice in the sky didn't seem to care about the Thunder old man. The rolling demonic chi and the black light kept trembling. At that moment, Du Xiaofu felt that in the rolling demonic chi in the sky, there seemed to be a pair of invisible eyes looking down at him. When Du Xiaofu's invisible eyes looked at him, it seemed to be able to make him feel uneasy, and his primordial spirit felt cold. It's you. You can actually destroy my demonic sect. It seems that your aura is related to the supreme expert back then. How strange. The indifferent and emotionless voice sounded again. At the same time, a huge handprint was formed in the rolling demonic chi in the sky. It fell from the sky and directly descended on Du Xiaofu. When the huge demonic chi handprint descended, a vast pressure fell. It seemed to have frozen the entire sealed ancient land. When the terrifying demonic chi handprint descended, everyone in the sealed ancient land felt as if there was a huge rock on their chests. It made their hearts feel like they were going to explode, and their primordial spirits were going to collapse. Golden light surged in Du Xiaofu's eyes. Under the terrifying pressure, he felt as if he had been frozen. He couldn't even fight back. The feeling of powerlessness shocked Du Xiaofu. This was also the first time that Du Xiaofu had felt such terrifying strength. Under such strength, he was actually unable to have the heart to resist. What kind of terrifying strength was this? Buzz. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu felt the purple lightning profound cauldron in his God's Gate automatically buzzing. Purple gold profound lightning was released. In an instant, mountains surged out of his body and resisted the terrifying pressure. Ninth demon, it's not your place to be arrogant. Suddenly, a voice rang out from high up in the sky. Chapter 1234. The voice seemed to come from a young man, but it was laced with age. It was also at this critical juncture that a faint golden waterfall that was filled with a sharp and murderous aura suddenly shot out from the void and collided with the devilish handprint, causing a burst of dazzling light to erupt. The collision of these energies seemed to have caused time to stop. That short instant felt like an eternity to the people in the sealed ancient land. It was as if the entire space had frozen during that collision. Crackle. Only then did a sound ring out from the collision, but it wasn't too loud. When the two collided, the surrounding space suddenly collapsed, revealing a pitch-black hue. Shattered talismans shone brilliantly, forming a divine ring that drowned out the area. Then the shattered talismans were obliterated in the void and quickly dimmed. Western demon, you're actually still alive. In the sky filled with surging demonic energy, the indifferent and emotionless voice finally rippled. It wasn't loud, but it echoed like thunder. This world needs someone who can restrain you. If you don't die, I won't die either. The ancient voice continued to ring out. It seemed to come from far away, piercing through space. It grew closer and closer. Kiki, Western demon, do you think you can restrain us? Everything will be different. Just you wait. It won't be long before you won't be able to protect everything. The indifferent voice laughed coldly. Demonic energy surged, and a terrifying wave of demonic energy rushed out, enveloping the Thunder Elder. Then he gradually retreated from the sky. Sigh. In the sky, an ancient sigh rang out. Then everything calmed down. Du Xiaofu watched as the Thunder Elder was taken away. Beneath his purple robes, his fists clenched tightly. His eyes were bloodshot. If he couldn't capture the Thunder Elder and ask about his master, he didn't know when he'd be able to find out about his master's whereabouts. In the sealed ancient land, everyone's eyes trembled as they watched everything that had just happened. Some found it hard to snap out of their daze. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. At that moment, the space behind the sealed ancient land rippled. 8 spatial waves rippled from the sky. Then, 8 figures descended on the sealed ancient land. As this figure descended, space froze. 8 boundless auras descended. Du Xiaofu raised his head. The 8 figures were exactly the same as the clones that the major forces had used before. However, at this moment, the 8 figures were real. 8 absolutely terrifying auras surged. They were the true bodies of the 8 clones. Greetings, Grand Elder. As the 8 figures descended, the disciples of the Saman Sword Sect, Everclear Island, Jiuhua Mountain, and the Sun Moon Sect all bowed with lingering fear in their hearts. Some experts also heaved a sigh of relief once again. The sealed ancient land was filled with baleful blood qi, and corpses were everywhere. In this war, the number of people who died in the Alliance army numbered in the hundreds of millions. They were all like ants. How cruel was the cultivation world! The disciples of the various major powers were cleaning up the mess. Some of them had lingering fears, some were grieving, and some were secretly relieved. At dusk, the setting sun enveloped the sealed ancient land, giving it a desolate and bleak atmosphere. On the mountain peak, Mu Jianchen looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "Last time, you asked me to keep an eye out for news. For now, the Saman Sword Sect hasn't found any news about your master, the artifact sovereign Xiahou Fenglei. We also haven't found any traces of the devil religion. However, not long ago, we received news from the Beast region. The little girl you're looking for might have appeared in the Beast region." The Beast region? Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. The Beast region was a vast world of Yao beasts. It was much larger than any province in Kyushu. I don't know the specifics. I only heard that a little girl appeared in the Beast region recently. Her true form is that of a dragon. She caused quite a stir in the Beast region. It's said that she even alarmed the entire Beast region, said Mu Jianchen. He looked at Du Xiaofu and was inwardly moved. This guy was already very ferocious. He could cause a huge disturbance wherever he went. When he came to Shang province, the Hahuan school was turned upside down. There was no need to talk about the battle today. The people around him were all calm and well-behaved. It should be little Xingxing. Hearing Mu Jianchen's words, Du Xiaofu was almost 80% certain that it was little Xingxing. Given little Xingxing's personality, if he went to the Beast region, he would indeed be able to turn the Beast region upside down. What are you planning to do next? Don't tell me you're going to the Beast region? Mu Jianchen looked at Du Xiaofu and frowned. Du Xiaofu nodded. I have to make a trip to the Beast region. The Beast region is the territory of the dragons. You've offended quite a few beasts on the Tianhuang continent. You have to think this through. Even the experts of the Saman Sword Sect don't dare to recklessly enter that place. Mu Jianchen helplessly reminded Du Xiaofu. He knew that no matter what he said, he wouldn't be able to stop this ferocious guy from going to the Beast region. However, Mu Jianchen was well aware of how terrifying the Beast region was. He didn't have a good impression of humans to begin with. Many human experts wanted to go to the Beast region to temper themselves and search for opportunities. In the end, one by one, they became the battle servants of the Yao Kings. Mu Jianchen also knew that this guy in front of him definitely didn't have a good reputation in the Beast region. He had already offended quite a few beasts, including the terrifying dragons. Mu Jianchen didn't even need to think too much to know that once the Demon King went to the Beast region, he would definitely be besieged by the entire Beast region. The consequences were obvious. I have to make a trip. Du Xiaofu smiled. If the information he received was correct, then Little Star was most likely in the Beast region. He had to go. Mu Jianchen sighed softly at Du Xiaofu's words. Just as he had expected, Du Xiaofu had no choice but to go. He helplessly said, "The Beast region isn't far from here. Our Saman Sword Sect spies are there. I will notify them. I'm afraid I won't be able to help you much. However, if you need any information, I should be able to help you." "Many thanks." Du Xiaofu smiled. No need to be so polite. Mu Jianchen looked at Du Xiaofu and said, "If you need anything in the future, just let me know. Shang Zhou owes you a favor." Du Xiaofu looked at Mu Jianchen. Then, he looked in the direction of the rising moon. He clasped his hands behind his back and his hair fluttered behind him. After a long time, he softly said, "All right, I'll remember." At night, the moon was dark and the stars were faint. A baleful aura lingered in the sky. In the distance, there was a thick stench of blood. On the peak of the mountain, a graceful and beautiful figure stood silently. Her violet hair hung down along her beautiful shoulders, all the way to her perky and delicate buttocks, and her slender and straight legs drew out a graceful and mature arc. Little Star might be in the Beast region. Du Xiaofu landed on the mountain peak. Looking at the graceful figure's back, his heart trembled. This woman's back alone was enough to cause a calamity. It was just that she was cold and elegant and difficult to deal with. She could change her expression at a moment's notice. Go to the beast region immediately. If something happens to my daughter, you're dead. The voice was clear and carried a hint of coldness. The purple flame demonic phoenix turned her head. The purple eyes on her beautiful face glowed with a devilish purple light in the night. Little Star is also my daughter. Du Xiaofu pursed his lips. Only after he said that did he feel something was wrong. Those devilish purple eyes were staring at him as if they wanted to eat him up. A moment later, the purple flame demonic phoenix's devilish purple eyes regained their calmness. Her eyes glowed with a faint radiance like fireworks. She said, "You'd better pray for your own good. Hope that Little Star is safe and sound." Du Xiaofu frowned slightly. He looked at the woman before him. She had a moving face, a seductive figure, a noble temperament, and a charming charm. Although she had a peerless beauty, she could change her expression at a moment's notice. Behind her back, she was cold and ruthless. It was best for him to keep his distance from her. "I'll return the dragon bone to you. It's useless to me now. You still owe me the golden-winged great rock bone." Seeing that Du Xiaofu didn't say anything, the purple flame demonic phoenix extended her slender hand. A dragon bone emitting a dragon's roar floated in front of Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu accepted the dragon bone and immediately put it in his Qingkuan bag. Then he looked at the purple flame demonic phoenix and said, "How are your injuries? Thank you for helping me this time." Chapter 1235. I acted because of little Xingxing and the golden-winged great pung bone you owe me. It has nothing to do with you, so there's no need to thank me, the purple demon phoenix said indifferently. My injuries aren't too serious. There's still some distance between here and the beast region. If you don't have any problems, we can set off tomorrow morning. Du Xiaofu nodded. He wanted to reach the beast region as soon as possible. He really was worried about little Xingxing. If little Xingxing really was in the beast region, then given his bloodline and strength, ordinary Yao beasts wouldn't be able to do anything to him. However, there were some terrifying existences in the beast region. Even the peak experts of the Saman sword sect didn't dare to rashly intrude. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but worry. A moment later, the moonlight shone like a waterfall. Du Xiaofu stood quietly on the mountain peak, his hands behind his back. His purple robes fluttered slightly as he gazed at the bright moon in the sky. His gaze seemed somewhat sluggish. The Demon Emperor, the Western Yao, and the Devil Religion. It seems to be getting more and more lively. After a long while, Du Xiaofu lowered his head. The Demon Emperor and the Western Yao that had appeared today hadn't even shown themselves, yet their strength had already reached such a level. The shadows of the Devil Religion seemed to be everywhere in the world. His master had fallen into the hands of the Devil Religion, and his family's reunion was nowhere in sight. He also didn't know how his drunkard father was faring after receiving his inheritance on Tianhuang continent. All of this caused Du Xiaofu's thoughts to fluctuate. After a long while, Du Xiaofu took a deep breath. For now, he had to go to the beast region and find little Xingxing. At the same time, he had to work hard to raise his cultivation. The Devil Religion's strength was unimaginable. Legalism was also a colossus. All of this required him to have absolute strength. On the mountain peak, Du Xiaofu gazed at the purple demon phoenix sitting cross-legged nearby. Her beautiful figure was enveloped in a faint purple light, as if she were burning with purple flames. Her eyes were slightly closed, but she was still beautiful and moving, like the most beautiful fairy of the night. So the purple flame demonic phoenix is such a troublemaker. It turns out that the purple flame demonic phoenix doesn't recognize anyone. Muttering in his heart, Du Xiaofu gazed at the beautiful figure with her eyes slightly closed. He was very clear in his heart that under this woman's beautiful appearance, there was a cold and ruthless heart. It was best not to provoke her. However, in the depths of his heart, Du Xiaofu was secretly comparing the temperament of the woman in front of him. She was comparable to Su Muxin's temperament and was most similar to Su Muxin's. However, Su Muxin bewitched all living beings, dignified and noble. This woman, on the other hand, was enchanting and cold to the point of transcendence. She was ethereal and gorgeous, as if she didn't eat the food of the mortal world. In Du Xiaofu's mind, Dongli Qingqing and Qi Yeshi's temperament and appearance were comparable to Su Muxin and the purple demon phoenix. However, Dongli Qingqing and Qi Yeshi were less enchanting and charming than Su Muxin and the purple demon phoenix. However, they were more pure and seductive. They were also untainted by the food of the mortal world, but they were like real immortals that had descended to the mortal world. There were also manly women like Ouying Shuang, Murong Yurua, and Sima Muhan. They all had different temperaments, and each had their own merits. What am I thinking about? Du Xiaofu scolded himself in his heart. Then, a bitter smile appeared on his face. He formed a hand seal and entered into a state of meditation. A moment later, his body was shrouded in a faint golden light. The next morning, the sky was slightly bright. The hazy morning light shone on the sealed ancient land, driving away the thick, bloody aura that had accumulated over the night. Whoosh whoosh, two figures leapt out from the mountain peak. Wrapped in rainbow light, they cut through the peaceful morning sky and disappeared into the distance. That Demon King has gone to the Beast region. I'm afraid the Beast region will no longer be peaceful. Not far away, on a mountain peak, Mu Jianchen opened his eyes. They flickered with light. The three continents of Kyushu were the ancient wasteland continent, the Tianhuang continent, and the Chanhuang continent. The Kyushu were the Shang continent, Han continent, Ning continent, Lan continent, Zhong continent, Wan continent, Yu continent, Yun continent, and Lei continent. Each continent referred to a region and a realm. The first region was the Beast region. It was said that it was a vast world of demon beasts. It was much larger than any of the continents in Kyushu. The second realm was the Demon realm. It was said that it was where the demon spirits of this world resided. How vast was the world! The three continents of Kyushu were boundless and boundless. In addition, there were the four seas where the dragons resided, and Wudong Mountain where the phoenixes resided. The vastness of the world was far greater than many people had imagined. However, most people had no idea how big the world was. They could only view the sky from the bottom of a well. How strong you were was determined by how much information you knew. The Beast region was close to Shang continent. It was isolated from Kyushu, but it wasn't far from several continents. Shang continent was one of them. To humans, the Beast region was tantamount to a forbidden land. Without a doubt, the Beast region was the best place for many people to temper themselves. However, it was unknown how many human experts, including many elites and human kings, ended up becoming the mounts of the demonic beast kings. It was said that the battle servants of the top demon beast clans even had human emperors among them. This was similar to how, in Kyushu, many disciples of major powers had demon beasts ranked on the heavenly beast list as their mounts. No one paid attention to this. In this world, strength spoke louder than words. As Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demon phoenix hurried to the Beast region, news of the astonishing battle in Shang continent quickly spread to every continent. The most attention-grabbing event was undoubtedly the Demon King Du Xiaofu's battle with the evil demons. After the battle was vividly described and exaggerated, countless powers were shaken. In Shang continent, the Demon King Du Xiaofu's reputation soared. He was praised by everyone. It was rumored that the Demon King Du Xiaofu, with his fearless courage, had single-handedly destroyed the Demon Gate and saved countless people. He had even single-handedly challenged half of the devil religion's experts. This caused Du Xiaofu to receive the acknowledgement of all the sects in Shang continent. In an instant, Du Xiaofu's reputation in Shang continent surpassed that of the Alliance Master, Mu Jianchen. After all, this time, Du Xiaofu had indeed destroyed the Demon Gate and saved the entire Alliance army. With the truth before their eyes, the experts of the various powers had no choice but to admit that the entire Shang continent owed the Demon King a favor. As for the Haohuan school, its reputation in Shang continent had naturally risen as well. Originally, the entire Shang continent had to maintain a certain distance from the Haohuan school. After all, the Haohuan school's reputation wasn't very good. However, the Haohuan school's reputation had recently improved. This caused all the Haohuan school's disciples to be pleasantly surprised. Although Du Xiaofu had only appeared in the Haohuan school halfway, he had suddenly become the Haoan school supervisor. However, with Du Xiaofu's original reputation and the shocking feats of the Haoan school, he had brought the Haoan school's reputation to a whole new level in Shang continent. This caused Du Xiaofu to receive the acknowledgement and respect of all the disciples. As the news of Shang continent spread to the other continents, with the speed of Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix, a boundless mountain range appeared in the distant sky 10 days later. The mountain range was boundless, vast, and deep. At this moment, it was dusk. The setting sun was like a huge fireball as it fell behind the mountain range. The sunset had also lost its last trace of radiance, causing the world to darken. From afar, the mountain range seemed even more vast and boundless. The Beast region is up ahead. It's much larger than any of the other continents in Kyushu. Rumor has it that the Beast region is as large as 3 continents. I wonder if that's true. The purple flame demonic phoenix floated in the air as it gazed at the vast and boundless Beast region. Its purple eyes rippled. Du Xiaofu stood beside the purple flame demonic phoenix. In the past 10 days, he hadn't spoken much to the purple flame demonic phoenix. However, his injuries had healed quite a bit. The closer they got to the Beast region, the more cultivators they met along the way. With Du Xiaofu's age and the purple flame demonic phoenix's beauty, it was inevitable that they would attract some trouble. However, the result was obvious. There was no need for Du Xiaofu to do anything. The purple flame demonic phoenix dealt with them. Chapter 1236. Swoosh Swoosh. As Du Xiaofu floated in the air and observed the entrance to the Beast region, the sound of rushing wind suddenly rang out from within the Beast region. Du Xiaofu raised his head and looked over. The sound of rushing wind resounded in front of him as many figures rushed out in a panic. Coo coo! Behind those figures, many ferocious birds flapped their wings and flew out. Many of those ferocious birds circled in the air, their bodies emitting a terrifying aura. Their voices pierced through metal and cracked stone. Their bodies pressed down like dark clouds, their auras causing one's heart to tremble. The auras of these ferocious birds spread out, causing the vast space of the mountain range to almost freeze. They were as fast as lightning, bursting with runes and crushing many figures with their sharp claws, turning them into a bloody mist that poured down. Ah! Miserable shrieks rang out one after another, but they did not have much strength to resist. Swoosh swoosh, a few of the stronger and faster figures fled a little further away. Many of those ferocious birds' eyes were sharp and frightening as they stared intently at the few people fleeing in front of them. After circling in the air once, they did not continue to pursue. Amidst loud and clear cries, they quickly retreated into the Beast region and disappeared. That was close. Those demonic beasts were too strong. We almost couldn't return. Our lives were hanging by a thread. Fortunately, we escaped quickly. They won't chase us out of the Beast region. Several people floated in the air. Their ages varied. The youngest was in his 20s, while the oldest was in his 50s. There were a total of 6 people. All of them had lingering fear in their hearts and were rejoicing that they managed to escape with their lives. Everyone, may I ask what happened in front of us? Du Xiaofu's figure landed beside the 6 people and asked. The unforeseen event ahead had attracted Du Xiaofu's attention. Du Xiaofu's gaze swept across the 6 people, and his sharp yuan spirit power swept over them. He easily saw through their strength. Among the 6 people, the strongest was the old man in his 50s. He was at the perfect martial emperor stage. The weakest was not the young man in his 20s, but a middle-aged man in his 40s. He was only at the nirvana stage of the martial marquis stage. There was also a powerful spirit talisman master among the other 6. The 6 people recovered from their lingering fear when they saw the purple-robed young man appear without a sound. They all looked curiously at Du Xiaofu. Stop bothering us. Scram back to where you came from. A middle-aged man in his 30s had a gloomy expression. He glanced at Du Xiaofu. He glanced at Du Xiaofu. Was just a young man. He was a youth was nothing in his book. He was just a young man. He did not take Du Xiaofu. He did not think he took was a young man was master. As the middle-aged man's voice fell, Du Xiaofu's indifferent expression slowly turned gloomy. He looked at the middle-aged man with a gloomy expression and said, "Sir, it's fine if you don't want to say it. I'm just trying to find out the situation. Why do you have to be like this?" The middle-aged man was stunned. He did not expect that the purple-robed young man in front of him would dare to question him. His gloomy expression suddenly turned cold. There was a chill in his eyes. He said eerily, "Where did this brat come from? I'm not in a good mood today. You just have to provoke me. It seems like you don't know how to write the word death." Sigh. A soft sigh sounded, but it was like the sound of nature. The beautiful figure of the purple flame demonic phoenix stood beside Du Xiaofu silently. Her purple eyes glanced at Du Xiaofu intentionally or unintentionally. She was obviously disdainful. Her graceful figure stood there quietly, revealing a sense of laziness. When they saw the purple flame demonic phoenix's mature and beautiful figure, the six of them stared straight at her. They revealed the most direct and unadulterated look a man should have towards a woman. Du Xiaofu frowned when he saw the purple flame demonic phoenix's sudden appearance. However, Du Xiaofu's gaze was fixed on the middle-aged man. His expression grew even more gloomy. His lips curved into a cold smile as he said, "If you don't have the strength, then don't be so arrogant. Perhaps you've forgotten how to write the word death. You spoke too harshly and cut off your own tongue as punishment. Otherwise, die." Ha 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 ha, the middle-aged man was stunned for a moment when he heard Du Xiaofu's words. Then, he laughed loudly and said, "Brat, so you've brought a woman here to show off. You're probably some spoiled brat from some mountain clan. Unfortunately, this is the beast region." When he finished speaking, the middle-aged man's expression suddenly turned cold. His aura instantly changed and a monstrous chill surged out. Boom! At the same time, the other five surrounded Du Xiaofu, intentionally or unintentionally. They seemed to be attacking together, trapping Du Xiaofu in the middle. It wasn't hard to see that the six of them had been working together for a long time. This wasn't the first time they'd done something like this. The auras of the six of them carried a sharp, bloody scent. Their gazes were cold. It was likely that the number of people who died at their hands wasn't small. When faced with Du Xiaofu, the six of them instinctively surrounded him. It was obvious that the six of them worked together seamlessly. They didn't underestimate this young man in front of them. Even if the two of them weren't strong, they definitely wouldn't be weak, since they dared to come to the beast region alone. The middle-aged man swept his gaze over the purple flame demonic phoenix beside Du Xiaofu. His eyes were filled with greed. Then, he coldly stared at Du Xiaofu and sneered, "This woman isn't bad. We'll take her for you today. It just so happens that we've lost quite a few people from Cold Wind Cave today. We need to kill a few people to vent our anger. You're courting death. You can't blame anyone else." As his voice fell, the middle-aged man's face filled with disdain and malevolence. Light cyan profound energy covered his body. He wasn't weak at all. A low shout came from his throat, "Die, brat!" Boom! The middle-aged man suddenly stomped his foot in the air and charged towards Du Xiaofu. His fist was covered in light cyan runes, causing the space to tremble. Filled with absolute killing intent, he instantly arrived before Du Xiaofu. However, although this kind of speed was fast, it was no different from playing with a tiger in front of an expert to Du Xiaofu. "Die your granny. Do you think I'm a pushover?" Du Xiaofu cursed. Just as the fist was about to reach him, his right hand suddenly shook and he directly punched out. A faint golden light immediately gushed out from his fist. Bang! The two fists collided. A low muffled sound rang out and a resplendent golden light flashed. The five people around them didn't even have time to see clearly. The middle-aged man's body was instantly enveloped by the golden light. Then, his body exploded into a mist of blood. He didn't even know how he died. Seeing this scene, the remaining five people were instantly dumbfounded. A sense of horror crept up from the depths of their souls. Run! The old man in his 50s, who was in the completion of the martial royal realm, was the first to come to his senses. He quickly ran away. Run! Run quickly! The four people around him came to their senses in an instant. They immediately soared into the air and ran away quickly. Bang, 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 bang! A low explosion resounded. Among the five people who ran away, purple flames suddenly burst out from the bodies of 4 of them. Their bodies exploded in the purple flames, and their souls were destroyed. Tell me, what's going on in front? The body of the purple flame demonic phoenix appeared in front of the old man in his 50s. An invisible energy froze the surrounding space. Chapter 1237. The old man's eyes glazed over, his mind and soul chilled. Only now did the old man realize they hadn't run into some spoiled brat from a large sect who'd brought a woman to the beast region to flaunt himself, but 2 absolute fiends. The strength of the 2 people in front of him wasn't something he could hope to touch. Sirs, please spare my life. There are many beasts up ahead searching for battle servants. If you're not strong enough or talented enough, they'll immediately kill you then. The old man's frantic narration told Du Xiaofu that the beast region had been in a state of chaos lately. For some reason, the powerful beasts had been searching for battle servants all over the place. Normally, the powerful beasts would only search within the beast region. But recently, the beasts had suddenly rushed to the outer regions in large numbers, causing the opportunists, trainers, and adventurers to suffer unspeakably. These people weren't good people either. They came from a third-rate power called Chilling Wind Cave in Shang Province. Normally, they'd robbed and killed people along the way, taking advantage of opportunities to plunder benefits. Not long ago, they'd run into the beasts and been beaten to a pulp. Now, they'd provoked Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demon phoenix. Has there been any news of a little girl whose true form is a dragon in the beast region? The purple flame demon phoenix asked the trembling old man, completely uninterested in the beast's search for battle servants. No, I haven't. The old man shook his head frantically. It wasn't hard to tell that this peerlessly beautiful woman in front of him was even more difficult to deal with than that youth. If you deserve to die, then die. As the elder's voice faded, the purple eyes of the purple flame demonic phoenix moved slightly. Space rippled and solidified. The space around the elder immediately distorted like a fried dough twist. Then, the space exploded. The elder's body was blown apart, and his spirit was destroyed. Don't waste time on these people. Given their strength, they probably don't know anything about Little Star, said the purple flame demon phoenix. Her voice was as calm and clear as ever, as if she were talking to Du Xiaofu. Then, her mature, graceful figure shot through the air towards the beast region. Du Xiaofu had already been used to the tranquility and calmness of the purple flame demonic phoenix over the past 10 days. He had not spoken more than 10 sentences with this woman over the past 10 days. In these 10 days, the 2 of them had been burying their heads in the road. In the vast mountain range, majestic mountains and strange rocks stood tall. Those towering trees had existed for hundreds or thousands of years. There were some towering trees that were over 100 zhang tall, and their crowns were like umbrellas that extended over 1,000 zhang, making them look like giants. Awoo! Within the mountain range, the roars of demonic beasts could be heard everywhere. This was the beast region, a paradise for Yao beasts. It was incomparably vast and filled with all kinds of Yao beasts. Rumor had it that the deeper one went into the beast region, the stronger the Yao would be. There were only a few weaker Yao beasts in the outer regions. However, things had changed recently. Quite a few powerful Yao beasts had suddenly appeared in the outer regions of the beast region, and they had appeared in large groups. Those Yao beasts were so powerful that the human adventurers and trainers in the vicinity had no way of contending against them. Not long after Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix entered the beast region, a wry smile appeared on his face. Several enormous birds had set their sights on him, and the purple flame demonic phoenix. Their cultivation bases weren't low. Some had even reached the beast emperor realm. However, those enormous birds seemed to have sensed Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix's aura. They stared intently at the 2 of them as they circled beneath the towering trees. They didn't immediately attack. Du Xiaofu didn't attack either. Those birds were the ones that had chased after the people from Cold Wind Cave not long ago. Their bloodlines weren't low. They were close to the heavenly beast rankings. However, they weren't on the heavenly beast rankings. They were only near the top of the earth beast rankings. The purple flame demonic phoenix had no intention of attacking either. Its purple eyes flickered, and it flew deeper into the forest. The deeper they went, the more roars they heard. More and more Yao beasts appeared. There were quite a few low-tier Yao beasts, but there were also quite a few powerful Yao beasts. Above the Kyushu, at the Beast King realm and Beast Emperor realm, Yao beasts were practically all in human form. However, in the Beast region, it was rare to see Beast King realm and Beast Emperor realm Yao beasts in human form. Every single one of them maintained their original appearance. This was the Beast region, the world of Yao beasts. It was said that in human form, it was more suitable for Yao beasts to cultivate. That was why they would only take human form when they were cultivating. The purple flame demonic phoenix and Du Xiaofu had both retracted their auras. However, the invisible aura emanating from their bodies caused the surrounding Yao beasts to feel apprehensive. It was an instinctive fear. The two of them fearlessly ventured deeper into the forest, attracting the curious gazes of many Yao beasts. They hissed softly, but none of them dared to attack. They could only watch as the two of them ventured deeper. Something's not right. Why are there so many Yao beasts in the outer perimeter? Du Xiaofu looked around and frowned. According to what he knew, there shouldn't be so many Yao beasts in the outer perimeter of the beast region. Not to mention, there were so many powerful Yao beasts. Crash, the air trembled. Leaves fluttered from the canopy and branches snapped. Fierce winds swept the canopy away like a tidal wave. Screech, a ferocious bird over 300 meters long. Its wings as hard as steel, glowed with an azure light. Its sharp eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix. This was an azure feather violet wood goose. It was at the peak of the Beast Emperor realm and had the bloodline of a Yao beast on the heavenly beast list. It was a ruler. There were even 4 human battle servants hovering in front of the green feather violent blood goose. The azure feather violet wood goose stared at Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix. It said sternly, "Which clan are you from? Not just anyone can enter." Scram. The purple flame demonic phoenix didn't even raise its head. Its reply to the green feather violent blood goose was only a single word. You're courting death. Capture them. I want them alive." The azure feather violet wood goose was a ruler. Its dignity couldn't be challenged. Its ferocious eyes were filled with coldness as it shouted at the 4 battle servants beside it. Boom. The 4 battle servants' faces sank. They immediately rushed out. The 4 battle servants' cultivations weren't weak. One of them was at the profound martial emperor realm, while the other 3 were at the peak of the martial king realm. They were all wrapped in talismans as they charged at Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix. Du Xiaofu snorted and directly attacked. His purple robe shook as he waved his sleeve. A ring of golden talisman runes erupted like a resplendent sun. It suddenly rushed out. Bang, 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 bang. A muffled explosion followed. Golden light shone resplendently, and the 4 combat servants were blasted away before they could even react. They smashed into the surrounding towering trees, causing the trees to snap apart. The earth quaked, the mountains shook, and the ground cracked. At the same time, Du Xiaofu's figure was like an uninhabited land. He was as fast as lightning as he appeared above the azure feather violet wood goose like a ghost. He opened and closed his fist as he directly punched down. Bang! A muffled explosion sounded as golden light erupted. The huge azure feather violet wood goose directly fell from the sky and heavily smashed into the ground. The ground cracked and shattered rocks shot out. Poochie, the azure feather violet wood goose spat out a large mouthful of blood. Its sharp eyes were still filled with fear. The purple-robed youth's terrifying and domineering aura made it feel like the aura of a sovereign. That was the pressure of the bloodline and soul. It wasn't something it could contend against. At this moment, the golden light aura exploded from Du Xiaofu's body. It was the aura of the golden-winged rock. Roar! The surrounding beasts all trembled and whined as they prostrated themselves on the ground. They couldn't resist Du Xiaofu's aura at all. Their instinctive fear surged out of them. What's going on here? Why are you all gathered here? Du Xiaofu stood atop the azure feather violet wood goose. His voice was low and his aura incomparably domineering. The heavenly beast tomb is about to open. That's why we're gathered here. The azure feather violet wood goose didn't dare hide anything. It immediately replied. Under the pressure of that sovereign aura, the depths of its beast soul felt cold. What's the heavenly beast tomb? Du Xiaofu didn't understand. He wasn't too familiar with the affairs of the beast region. The heavenly beast tomb is a legend of the beast region. Legend has it that in ancient times, it was a place where the various clans of the beast region fought. Countless powerful beasts died in a bloodbath. To the beasts, there are enormous benefits inside. However, the heavenly beast tomb opens for an indefinite period of time. It may be thousands of years, or even hundreds of years. No one knows. It all depends on luck. As for the specifics of the heavenly beast tomb, there are only a few legends. However, every time the heavenly beast tomb opens, a few peak beast clans will send their descendants to fight for it. Even the dragons and phoenixes would come. Before the azure feather violet wood goose could say anything, the violet wood phoenix's voice had already entered Du Xiaofu's ears. Then, her beautiful figure flashed into the distance. Du Xiaofu watched the violet wood phoenix leave. His expression changed slightly. Chapter 1238. Is there any news of a little girl whose true form is a dragon? Du Xiaofu asked the goose. Are you talking about our Lord Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor? The goose asked, trembling. Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor. When Du Xiaofu heard this, he raised his eyebrows. It really did sound like Little Star. Where is the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor now? Du Xiaofu immediately asked. He was more and more convinced that the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor was Little Star. The Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor should have reached the Heavenly Beast Tomb by now. If the Heavenly Beast Tomb is already open, the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor might have already entered the Heavenly Beast Tomb, the goose said. Du Xiaofu frowned and asked, Then why are you here? The Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor ordered us to find some good battle servants to enter. Otherwise, we can't compete with the other races. The green feather violent blood goose replied. However, it had some doubts in its heart at this moment. The purple-robed young man on its back clearly had the aura of a demonic beast. But why was he completely unaware of the heavenly beast tomb? For the beast race, there should be no one who did not know the situation of the heavenly beast tomb. What does the battle servants have to do with the heavenly beast tomb? Du Xiaofu was even more confused. Rumor has it that the core area of the heavenly beast tomb has a strange restriction. We beasts are unable to enter. Only humans can enter. That's why the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor sent us out to find some good battle servants. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to compete with the other beasts for opportunities, said the cyan feather blood goose. All right, don't provoke me again. Otherwise, I'll stew you. Du Xiaofu shouted. His figure then soared into the sky and chased after the purple-flamed demonic phoenix. Awoo! As Du Xiaofu left, the demonic beasts in the surroundings finally dared to stand up. They still had some lingering fear. Not long after, Du Xiaofu caught up with the purple-flamed demonic phoenix. He curled his lips and said, Little Star might be in the heavenly beast tomb? I heard it. The heavenly beast tomb shouldn't be far from here, but it's not close either. With our speed, we should be able to arrive tomorrow morning. I hope Little Star is there. The purple flame demonic phoenix said. Her voice was a little less clear, but there was a little more seriousness between her brows. She continued, I also hope that little guy won't be too ostentatious. Every time the heavenly beast tomb opens, there will be a storm in the monster domain. Many beast sovereigns will enter. With Little Star's body and defense, there shouldn't be any problems in the beast sovereign realm, Du Xiaofu said. After listening to the purple flame fiendish phoenix, he felt that the opening of the heavenly beast tomb in the beast region was comparable to the opening of the Tianhuang continent. Some of the top beast races are not to be trifled with. Not to mention the dragons and phoenixes, even the pure-blooded Qiankis and Taodais are not to be trifled with. They are not much weaker than the dragons and phoenixes. Most importantly, when the celestial beast tomb opens, even beast region cultivators will enter. Beast region cultivators? Du Xiaofu's face immediately turned ugly when he heard that. The beast domain realm was just as terrifying as the woman who had turned on him at the drop of a hat. Once a beast domain realm expert entered as well, no one else would have a chance even if there were benefits. Seeing Du Xiaofu's expression change, the purple flame fiendish phoenix glanced at him and said, "But it is said that there is a special restriction inside the heavenly beast tomb. Beast region cultivators will be suppressed to the half-domain level and half-domain level will be suppressed to the peak of the beast sovereign realm. The strength inside cannot surpass the beast sovereign realm. The strongest is the half-domain level." Hearing this, Du Xiaofu raised his eyebrows. So that's how it is. However, the beast realm was suppressed to the half-realm level, and the half-realm level was suppressed to the peak of the nirvana level of the beast sovereign realm. Even so, the half-realm level and the peak of the beast sovereign realm should still be stronger than ordinary half-realm and peak of the nirvana level. Is there really an opportunity inside the heavenly beast tomb? Du Xiaofu asked the purple flame demonic phoenix curiously as they sped through the sky that was gradually enveloped by the twilight and the mountains below. Of course, there are great opportunities inside the heavenly beast tomb. It is said that many beasts obtained great opportunities inside 2,000 years ago. Now, those who obtained great opportunities are all marquises of the beast region. They rule over large areas of the beast region and their reputations are illustrious. The purple flame fiendish phoenix gave a rare reply to Du Xiaofu. Afterwards, she even told Du Xiaofu quite a bit about the heavenly beast tomb. According to the purple flame fiendish phoenix, Du Xiaofu learned that the heavenly beast tomb was filled with beast kings that had fallen and left behind countless inheritances. It also gave birth to countless heavenly treasures and spiritual medicines. It was extremely mysterious and contained endless opportunities. However, it also concealed great dangers. Opportunities and dangers coexisted. Roar. In the night, the two of them traveled as fast as lightning. Along the way, they encountered groups of ferocious beasts that roared and howled, shaking the mountains and rivers. Their ferocious eyes were like stars. They seemed to be rushing towards the heavenly beast tomb. Du Xiaofu and the purple flame fiendish phoenix both released a faint aura. The surrounding beasts didn't dare to block their path. They avoided them from afar in fear. Early morning the next day, with a red tint of dawn, the mountain range in front rose and fell. Looking up, it was like looking at a strange painting. Layer upon layer of mountains stretched out into the distance, the outline of which was clear and distinct. At the end of the line of sight, there were boundless clouds and mountains, causing one to feel relaxed and happy. "We've arrived." The purple flame fiendish phoenix floated in the air as she spoke to Du Xiaofu. Du Xiaofu stopped and looked ahead. It was a vast space, and the surrounding area was hundreds of miles wide. There were many rocky mountain peaks scattered in the circular area. The surrounding rocky mountain peaks were surrounded by deep valleys and chasms. Among them, there were two main peaks that were even taller than the rest. Looking from the front to the back, a deep valley appeared behind the two main peaks. It really looked like the entrance to a huge tomb. However, at this moment, a huge spatial passageway had opened in the middle of the deep valley. It flickered with multicolored light, filled with mysterious runes, and emitted an ancient aura. Faint roars of demonic beasts could be heard. Roar. Woo-woo. At this moment, the demonic beasts in the circular and empty area in front of them were roaring as they rushed towards the two main peaks. The heavenly beast tomb has been opened. I don't know how long it will be open. During the opening period, all demonic beasts and humans can enter. Once the heavenly beast tomb closes, everyone will be pushed out. If Little Star is here, he should have already entered the heavenly beast tomb. As soon as the purple flame demonic phoenix's voice fell, its figure suddenly turned into a purple rainbow and rushed directly into the heavenly beast tomb. Du Xiaofu followed the purple flame demonic phoenix into the light passageway in the valley. He suddenly felt a strange feeling. It was as if the space was in chaos. Runes flickered, dazzling, and demonic beasts roared endlessly. Runes swept forward and disappeared, emitting an ancient aura. About a few minutes later, a white light flickered in front of them. Du Xiaofu's figure rushed out and floated in midair. What appeared in front of Du Xiaofu was a space that was extremely rich in natural energy. Towering mountains stretched as far as the eye could see. It seemed as though it was possible to see the remains of some ancient cities between the mountains. At this moment, In this vast space that was rich in heaven and earth energy, there was an explosion of astonishing vitality. There were already endless demonic beasts scattered in all directions like a swarm of locusts. Their roars were like thunder, and their fierce auras rose and fell continuously. In the spatial passageway behind them, there was an endless stream of demonic beasts pouring out. There were so many demonic beasts, many of which were extremely large. When the runes burst out, the entire sky seemed to be rumbling. This scene was much more terrifying than the beast-tide Du Xiaofu had seen in the dark forest and the savage beast mountain range. At this moment, the cultivation of these demonic beasts was many times stronger than the demonic beasts in the savage beast mountain range and the dark forest. There were many beast emperor realm and beast sovereign realm demonic beasts among them. There were tens of millions of demonic beasts, or even more, gathered together. It was a scene that could be imagined. Roar. As he listened to the thunderous roars of the demonic beasts, the earth rumbled and trembled, and the terrifying shock waves blasted out, causing Du Xiaofu to inwardly suck in a breath of cold air. Countless ancestors of the beast clan have fallen here, leaving behind the remains of countless ancestors of the beast clan. The purple flame demonic phoenix looked at some of the ruins in the distance and seemed to be enlightened. There were some fluctuations in its purple eyes, as if it was recalling something. That's a winged dragon. Suddenly, Du Xiaofu seemed to have discovered a new continent. In the sky not far away, there was a dragon's roar that sounded like thunder. A strange flood dragon with a pair of wings on its back had appeared. Its entire body was covered in scales that looked like dragon scales. It had sharp claws, dense scales, and a bloody mouth. It was strange and hideous. Chapter 1239. It's a winged dragon. Many monsters in the surroundings also noticed the ferocious winged dragon. They were intimidated by its aura and didn't dare to approach, retreating one after another. Du Xiaofu couldn't help but take a few more glances at the ferocious winged dragon. Although the winged dragon had been introduced in some of the unofficial histories, the ancient heaven sect, and the inheritances left behind by his master, the venerable artifact, the winged dragon was a powerful bloodline among dragons. However, this was the first time Du Xiaofu had seen a real winged dragon with his own eyes. Oh! After the winged dragon appeared, it let out a low roar. Its eyes flashed with a cold light. Its enormous body swept across the area, and with a sweep of its tail, it disappeared into the distance like lightning. Bang bang! However, the surrounding monsters suffered an unexpected calamity. Their bodies were sent flying, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. From this, one could see how arrogant the winged dragon was. It didn't put other monsters in its eyes at all. Oh! A roar came from the sky. A pure black monster dog the size of a tiger appeared. Its body was robust, and it had sharp fangs. Its roar was like thunder, and the aura it emitted was not inferior to the winged dragon that had just left. That's a heavenly dog. Du Xiaofu looked up in astonishment. That was jealousy of the rarely seen heavenly dog. Du Xiaofu didn't expect to see the Empress of Heaven in the heavenly beast tomb. The beast region was truly a paradise for monsters. As Du Xiaofu's gaze swept across the area, he saw many powerful monsters on the heavenly beast ranking. He couldn't help but sigh inwardly. His golden-winged rock body tempering cultivation method had already reached the second level. He no longer needed the blood essence of monsters on the heavenly beast ranking to refine his body. Otherwise, there would be a large amount of blood essence right in front of him right now. It would be nice if I could capture a few cubs and bring them back to Stone City. Du Xiaofu's eyes darted around. There were monsters on the heavenly beast ranking everywhere, and he couldn't help but have some ideas. If he had the chance, it would be a good choice to bring a few young demonic beasts from the heavenly beast list back to Stone City. In Du Xiaofu's heart, if the Du family's Erlang was allowed to grow and train with these demonic beasts on the heavenly beast ranking, it would definitely be quite beneficial for him. It's time to set off. Let's find Little Star first. Just as Du Xiaofu was lost in his thoughts, the purple flame demonic phoenix's heavenly voice entered his ears. Only then did Du Xiaofu return to his senses. Let's go. Golden light flickered beneath Du Xiaofu's feet as he swept across the sky and left. Amidst the demonic beasts that blotted out the sky and covered the earth, he actually felt his blood boiling. The contours of this space were boundless. The mountains were continuous and the abyss was connected. Du Xiaofu searched for Little Star along the way, trying to sense Little Star's aura, but to no avail. Along the way, he saw even more powerful demonic beasts. Each one was stronger than the last, and their bloodlines were thicker than the last. Along the way, Du Xiaofu also saw quite a few human battle servants. The stronger the demonic beast, the more battle servants there were, and the stronger they were. Du Xiaofu even saw quite a few martial exalted realm battle servants, and all of them were extraordinarily talented. Any one of these battle servants would be able to make a name for themselves on Kyushu. Battle servants are very common in the beast region. There are even people who intentionally follow powerful demonic beasts to become their battle servants and obtain their resources. Some powerful demonic beasts will also spare no effort to raise their own battle servants. Right now, there are quite a few experts on Kyushu who seem to have made a name for themselves a long time ago. Even sect masters may have once been battle servants of powerful existences in the beast region. Don't think that the human race is the true ruler of this world. Many of the human race's peak existences were once battle servants of ancient existences in the beast region. They're the beast region spies in the outside world. They can't develop without the beast region's support. The purple flame demonic phoenix seemed to sense Du Xiaofu's doubts about the battle servants. Intentionally or otherwise, she said this to Du Xiaofu. Her voice contained an indescribable meaning. It wasn't disdain, but it also contained a trace of disdain. Du Xiaofu's gaze twitched. No wonder so many talented people were willing to become battle servants. In other words, the human race had always wanted to plant their power in the beast region. They even hoped to control the beast region. However, the beast region hadn't been idle either. Many of the factions in front of them had long since been sent to Kyushu. When those battle servants left the beast region and became overlords, they were actually equivalent to the demonic beast power in the outside world. Du Xiaofu continued to search for news of Little Star. After half a day, he encountered more and more demonic beasts. Not only was he unable to find Little Star, but Du Xiaofu also learned from the discussions of the demonic beasts and battle servants that quite a few powerful demonic beast experts had secretly joined forces to deal with the Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor. The Purple Star Demonic Dragon Emperor was very likely Little Star. When he heard this, Du Xiaofu naturally couldn't be happy. However, Du Xiaofu couldn't do anything about it. There were many demonic beasts here. He had quite a few enemies in the beast region. Although the dragons weren't in the beast region, the four seas were nearby. Not to mention, according to the Purple Flame Demonic Phoenix, the true lineage of the dragons would definitely come. Once his identity was exposed, it wouldn't be easy to clean up the mess. However, Du Xiaofu wasn't afraid. In any case, everyone here was the same as the demonic beasts. Even if a martial region or beast region cultivator entered, they would be suppressed to the half-region. If he fought with his life on the line, even a half-region cultivator wouldn't necessarily be able to do anything to him. The vast space around him had been littered with traces of blood. There were broken walls and broken runes that flickered, emitting an ancient aura. However, this aura was left behind from ancient times. There were no treasures left behind. All the demonic beasts were searching for opportunities. Du Xiaofu also wanted to find some opportunities while looking for Little Star. After all, this was the heavenly beast tomb. It was a mysterious place. Unfortunately, Du Xiaofu didn't find any opportunities on his way here. He couldn't help but feel a bit disappointed. I wonder whose battle servant will be stronger this time? A strange tiger that was several meters tall sat in the sky above a vast broken wall. There were many demonic beasts and battle servants standing behind this strange tiger. It was even instructing a few battle servants to search for something in the broken wall below. It said that Huang Linger, Dragon 8, Dragon 7, and the others all found extraordinary battle servants this time. A towering bear with the body of a giant, but its head was a bear's head. Its aura was powerful, and there were many demonic beasts and battle servants standing beside it as it spoke to the strange tiger. It said that back in the Tianhuang continent, there was a human called Du Xiaofu. It's said that he was the strongest of the Kyushu's younger generation. Even Dragon 9 was killed by him. It's probably not bad if we can take that guy as a battle servant. The strange tiger smiled, revealing its fangs. The aura it emitted was very frightening. I've also heard of Du Xiaofu. He killed Dragon 9. It's said that the dragons were furious, but for some reason, they didn't go to Kyushu to settle the score, said the bearded man. His voice was so loud that it seemed to shake the air and spread far and wide. That was a few years ago. Although Dragon 9 wasn't weak, he was careless back then. If I can meet that Du Xiaofu, I'll definitely take him as a battle servant. The strange tiger was full of confidence. Its voice was loud and clear, and it was very fierce. When it spoke, many demonic beasts passing by didn't dare to approach. It seems you're quite popular in the beast region. Two figures flitted across the sky above the broken wall. The purple flame demonic phoenix said to Du Xiaofu with a smile that wasn't quite a smile. It's been a long time since I've had bear paws and tiger bone soup. Once we find Little Star, we'll definitely have a chance. Du Xiaofu's face darkened. He gnashed his teeth. He hadn't imagined he'd be so lucky in the beast region. What surprised Du Xiaofu even more was that there were demonic beasts eyeing him. This made Du Xiaofu's heart burn with anger. He couldn't tolerate others trying to take advantage of him. Inside the heavenly beast tomb, in a vast, ancient space, a towering mountain range stretched out in a valley. A 5- or 6-year-old girl stood atop a boulder. Beside the little girl, there were several ferocious beasts standing respectfully. There were also 2 huge ferocious birds circling in the air. Each of these demonic beasts' auras were extremely powerful. Any one of them was a peak existence above Kyushu's. Keep looking. There's not even a single good battle servant. It'll be very troublesome when the time comes. Are you all idiots? The young and tender voice was filled with anger. The little girl's petite body was wearing a red dress that was surrounded by countless star patterns. Although she was only 5 or 6 years old, there was a faint golden light deep within her eyes on her chubby face. She was demonic and noble, emitting a supreme aura. Her aura caused the few incomparably powerful demonic beasts around her to quietly tremble. Yes, we're already searching for battle servants. The sinister demonic beasts immediately nodded. One of the birds in the air said respectfully, Lord Dragon Emperor, there are a few juniors from different races who are trying to form factions to deal with you. What about you? They're granny bears. Let them have more people first. If there's too few, I can't be bothered to make a move. When the time comes, I'll uproot them and teach those blind bastards a lesson. There was a rune imprint between the girl's eyebrows. She looked noble and demonic. Her blue-black hair was tied into a ponytail. Somehow, she looked like a ruffian. She continued, keep looking for my father's whereabouts. I have a feeling that he'll definitely come to the beast region. Roared, demonic beasts roared all around the mountain peak. Several figures stood at the peak of the mountain. 2 of them were young men with imposing appearances. Their bodies emitted an aura that caused the space around them to feel stifling. One of them had shoulder-length blue hair and wore a blue robe. His temperament was calm and elegant, but his formless aura made one feel as if they were facing a vast, boundless ocean. This time, our dragon clan is determined to win. Chapter 1240. The blue-haired young man's voice seemed to be able to shake the space. His eyes rippled like the waves of the sea. Of course we must get it, the other young man said in a deep voice. He wore a crimson battle suit that seemed to be burning with flames. The vast space was extremely mysterious, and the energy of heaven and earth was extremely rich. This place is really strange. Du Xiaofu sighed. Back in the Tianhuang mainland, the sealed ancient lands and other sealed places were almost all lacking in energy of heaven and earth. However, the heavenly beast tomb was rich in energy of heaven and earth. Du Xiaofu even felt that if he cultivated here, he would be able to achieve twice the results with half the effort. In a vast valley, half of a huge beast skeleton emerged from the ground, while the other half was still buried in the ground. It seemed that the beast skeleton had only been revealed recently. The skeleton, which was hundreds of feet long, was filled with flowing light and emitted wisps of spiritual energy. One could vaguely see that it was the skeleton of a tiger-shaped demonic beast. This huge set of tiger bones released a terrifying pressure from afar, causing ordinary demonic beasts to not dare to come close. The bones of the tiger clan came from the ancient times, and it still carries the might of a tiger. It must be a powerful existence of the tiger clan. The secret bone must still be inside. Many powerful demonic beasts immediately approached, their eyes filled with excitement. They immediately pounced on the huge tiger skeleton, wanting to obtain the secret bone of the tiger clan's expert. It was definitely a precious treasure. Boom! Instantly, the huge demonic beasts rushed out, releasing a terrifying and ferocious aura. Runes filled the air, and no one wanted to be a step behind. Who dares to fight for it? The secret bone is mine. Just at that moment, a loud shout was heard. A humanoid figure appeared. It was like a humanoid ferocious beast. Its speed and posture made it seem like a humanoid ferocious bird. Its speed was as fast as lightning. Boom! Boom! The two mysterious sovereign realm demonic beasts that were the first to approach the tiger clan's bones were instantly sent flying. They let out cries of agony as their bodies slammed into a nearby rock, shattering the rock into pieces. The sudden change caused the surrounding demonic beasts to have a drastic change in expression. Those were two beast sovereigns, yet they were sent flying in an instant. The two beast sovereign realm mystical level monsters were indeed sent flying by the figure that came across the sky. Their bodies then entered the bones of the tiger clan monster. That figure seemed extremely small in the face of that humongous skeleton of the tiger clan. He was dressed in a purple robe, and there was a faint golden light rippling on his body. Then, the figure burrowed into the belly of the skeleton. As the purple-robed youth's palm radiated with golden light, a foot-long beast bone that was covered with mysterious runes and seemed to faintly emit a tiger's roar from the skeleton above his head was forcefully pulled out. Roar! A tiger's roar came from within the broken beast bone. Dazzling runes suddenly erupted like a sun, wanting to transform into an enormous yellow tiger that pounced out. The shadow of the slanted eyes tiger was incomparably ferocious. It looked like it was about to pounce, and it was extremely fierce. A terrifying pressure erupted from the resplendent rune. Just the pressure from a single bone was enough to make Origin Primordial Beast Realm experts and even Nirvana Beast Realm experts tremble. The sky-ripping tiger mystic bone of the Beast Realm. Not far away, a beautiful woman in purple looked at the resplendent runes within the skeleton of the tiger clan expert, and her expression changed. Don't blame me. With your mystic bone, I will definitely bring glory to the tiger clan. Remember the kindness of the tiger clan. The purple-robed youth clasped his hands together and bowed. As soon as he finished speaking, golden light erupted from his palms. His 5 fingers curled slightly, and a golden claw mark distorted space and grabbed at the illusory slanted eyes tiger. The mystic bone doesn't belong to you. Suddenly, a humongous ferocious bird flapped its wings and pounced over like a bolt of lightning. Its entire body emitted a terrifying wave of energy. In an instant, a pair of sharp claws grabbed at the shadow of the slanted eyes tiger. The mystic bone belongs to me. No one can take it away from me. The purple-robed youth didn't seem to panic. He shook his left arm, and a golden light erupted. Layers of golden runes overlapped like a ferocious bird flapping its wings. A domineering pressure suddenly surged out and immediately swept away the humongous bird. Chila, at the same time, the purple-robed youth's claw landed. The domineering aura that was released from his body was like that of a supreme being, causing the eyes of the slanted eyes tiger to tremble. Subsequently, the phantasm was shattered, and a crystal-clear mystic bone landed in his hand. The purple-robed youth was naturally Du Xiaofu. With a satisfied smile on his face, he happily kept the tiger clan's mystic bone in his hand. Du Xiaofu naturally felt that this mystic bone was extraordinary. It was likely that even if it was placed in the ancient heaven sect, it would definitely be in existence at the level of a treasure. Chi-la-la, as the mystic bone was broken, the pressure on the entire skeleton of the tiger clan suddenly dissipated. The light and pressure that originally filled the air also gradually disappeared. Not good. Why is the pressure so strong? The ferocious bird that was sent flying by Du Xiaofu fell to the ground. It felt the domineering aura that spread out from the youth's body, causing the depths of its Yuan spirit to tremble. Its entire body was filled with yellow light, and its wings were as sharp as blades. It immediately flapped its wings and flew into the distance, not daring to stay any longer. Since you want to snatch my mystic bone, don't run away. As the ferocious bird was about to escape, Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. His figure directly flew out, as if he had transformed into a golden rainbow. Regardless of whether it was his speed or his aura, they both far surpassed the ferocious bird. Immediately, a punch directly struck the bird's abdomen. Coo! The ferocious bird screeched. Immediately, a resplendent yellow light erupted from its body. Its blade-like feathers were like scales, each of them standing upright. The feathers on its abdomen were shattered, and fresh blood splattered on the ground, following which its body staggered in the air as it flapped its wings and swayed. I'll fight it out with you. The ferocious bird flew into a rage, its eyes blazing. It seemed to be in existence with a fiery bloodline. After stabilizing its body, a bright light rolled around its huge body, and a terrifying aura swept out. It was like an earth-shattering blade light that swept towards Du Xiaofu. Its aura was sharp and fierce as it cut through space. A complete beast sovereign realm, space-rending demonic blade falcon, is indeed not weak. Du Xiaofu's eyes were slightly surprised. The ferocious bird in front of him was a space-rending demonic blade falcon. It was famous for its speed and abnormal feathers. It was in existence on the heavenly beast list, following which, the golden light around Du Xiaofu trembled. He directly raised his hand and punched out. Rumble. The golden light of this punch was like a rainbow, as if it was erupting in all directions. Wherever it passed, the space rumbled. Immediately, it destroyed the attack of the space-rending demonic blade falcon and sent its huge body flying. Is this person a human or a beast? He's too strong. Run. The eyes of the space-rending demonic blade falcon trembled. It was terrified. The aura of the purple-robed youth was too terrifying. It immediately took advantage of the situation to escape. Speed was also one of its trump cards. Still want to escape? Du Xiaofu saw through the intention of the space-rending demonic blade falcon. He once again soared into the sky, leaping out like a fierce tiger. He landed on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon with a speed that no one could see clearly. Coo-coo. The space-rending demonic blade falcon screeched. Yellow light erupted from its body, and it wanted to flip Du Xiaofu over. Bang! Du Xiaofu was like a boulder. His fist exploded with golden light and directly landed on the space-rending demonic blade falcon. Bang! A low muffled sound rang out. The space-rending demonic blade falcon wailed. Its body directly fell to the ground, causing the earth to shake and the mountains to shake. The ground cracked, and many boulders were shattered. Its back was dripping with blood. Is that person a battle servant or a demonic beast? He's too strong. Many demonic beasts in the surroundings looked at each other. They did not dare to approach. The two beast sovereign stage, mysterious level demonic beasts were sent flying. At this moment, the perfect beast sovereign stage space-rending demonic blade falcon was directly trampled. The other demonic beasts did not dare to approach. However, when they saw the other party obtain the secret bone, the surrounding demonic beasts seemed to be somewhat unwilling to leave. However, Du Xiaofu, who was standing on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon with the strength of a boulder, had a difficult expression on his face. Looking at the blade-like feathers of the enormous space-rending demonic blade falcon under his feet, Du Xiaofu frowned. He was very depressed. He said to the space-rending demonic blade falcon, "The feathers on your body are too difficult to pluck. If I eat you, it will be troublesome to wash them off." Chapter 1241. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the space-rending fiend blade falcon's hair stood on end. That fellow actually wanted to eat it. Was this terrifying fellow a human or a demonic beast? Although the savage purple-robed youth had the aura of a demonic beast sovereign, he was clearly a human. But if he was a human, how could he have the aura of a demonic beast sovereign? This confused the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon. Now, I'll give you a choice. Do you want me to pull out your bones, draw out your blood, and eat your flesh? Or do you want to become my mount? Du Xiaofu frowned and asked the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon. Impossible. My space-rending fiend Blade Falcon tribe will never become someone's mount. The space-rending fiend Blade Falcon roared loudly. The space-rending fiend Blade Falcon was violent and unyielding. It would definitely not become someone's mount. It was said that in the past, the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon tribe had encountered human experts. Those human experts wanted to take the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon as a mount. Unfortunately, the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon would rather die than submit. Bang! However, as soon as the space-rending demonic Blade Falcon finished speaking, its back was directly stomped down by Du Xiaofu's foot. The stomp caused its feathers to shatter and blood to drip down. It was as if its white bones were about to be exposed. I'm only asking you if you want to become my mount or let me draw out your blood and dig out your bones. Whether you want to be my mount or not has nothing to do with me. Du Xiaofu shouted loudly. His expression started to become fierce. He changed his attitude without mercy. As Du Xiaofu's words fell, many demonic beasts in the surroundings were dumbfounded. All of them were secretly trembling. The purple-robed young man was too ferocious and savage. He didn't put the space-rending demonic Blade Falcon in his eyes at all. If the space-rending demonic Blade Falcon said no, the purple-robed young man would attack without hesitation. The space-rending fiend Blade Falcon cried out in pain. The talisman engravings on its body were suppressed until they became dimmer and dimmer. Its internal organs were about to be crushed. At this moment, the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon knew that the purple-robed youth on its back was savage. It did not even have the strength to struggle. I'm willing to be your mount. After a while, the space-rending Blade Falcon began to give in. It comforted itself that the purple-robed young man on its back must also be a demonic beast. As long as it did not become a human's mount, it would not be a disgrace to the space-rending Blade Falcon clan. Little Tiger isn't here, so I'll let you be my mount for a few days. Make do with it. Du Xiaofu's fierce face instantly revealed a smile. The space-rending demonic Blade Falcon's bloodline wasn't weak, and its ranking on the heavenly beast list wasn't low either. However, compared to the current Little Tiger, it was naturally not enough. However, Du Xiaofu's words immediately made the space-rending fiend Blade Falcon vomit blood. It had gritted its teeth and submitted to become his mount. It had also thought that if there was a chance in the future, it would think of a way to escape. However, it did not expect this guy to think that it was barely qualified to become his mount. Let's go and save some energy. After a while, Du Xiaofu sat on the space-rending demonic Blade Falcon and said to the purple flame demonic phoenix that had been quietly floating in the air not far away. Du Xiaofu had just obtained an extraordinary secret bone. It was probably much more precious than the secret bone of the Dragon 9. He did not want to stay here for long. The purple flame demonic phoenix's purple eyes moved. The fluctuations were gorgeous like purple fireworks. It did not say anything, but its graceful figure soon landed on the back of the space-rending demonic Blade Falcon. The pitiful space-rending demonic Blade Falcon had become a mount just like that. It was unwilling but unable to go crazy. Even though it was heavily injured, it still continued to fly. Who is that guy? He's too overbearing and cruel. The treasure of the Tiger Clan was obtained by that guy. As Du Xiaofu left, many demonic beasts in the surroundings had their eyes filled with fluctuations. No one dared to stop him. The space-rending demonic Blade Falcon had already become a mount. Their strength was inferior to the space-rending demonic Blade Falcon, so they could only watch as it left. After Du Xiaofu and the purple flame demonic phoenix left, an hour later, a strange tiger and a bearman arrived with many battle servants and demonic beasts. Their imposing manner was astonishing. How dare you touch the relic of my tiger clan? Chase that brat. Don't let him go. The strange tiger roared in front of the huge, tiger-shaped skeleton. Its eyes were filled with an ominous glint, causing one's heart to tremble. Before you find Little Star, you better not cause any trouble for me. The dragons are here. Many of your enemies should also be in the heavenly beast tomb. The purple flame demonic phoenix said to Du Xiaofu on the back of the space-rending demonic blade falcon. It's not the dragons. There's nothing to be afraid of. As long as they don't provoke me, there shouldn't be any other problems. Du Xiaofu pretended to be indifferent. In any case, the strength of the beast domain realm was suppressed to the half-domain realm. There was nothing to be afraid of. Of course, if they were outside the heavenly beast tomb, Du Xiaofu would be too embarrassed to say such words. Hearing Du Xiaofu's words, the purple flame demonic phoenix didn't even look at Du Xiaofu. She was cold and seductive, otherworldly, and her purple dress fluttered in the wind. They don't even put the dragons in their eyes. Just where did they come from? The pitiful space-rending demonic blade falcon was scared out of its wits when it heard the two's conversation. It's been so long, but I still don't know how to call you. Du Xiaofu looked at the beautiful figure in front of him and asked. He couldn't keep calling her Hey Hey, even though they hadn't spoken much in the past few days. However, the purple flame demonic phoenix still ignored Du Xiaofu, as if she didn't hear him. Du Xiaofu was a little irritated and didn't say anything else. Coo, the space-rending demonic blade falcon roared from time to time, as if venting its unwillingness. Its voice pierced through the clouds, causing the demonic beasts along the way to not dare to approach. This made many demonic beasts curious. The space-rending demonic blade falcon, which had always been arrogant and fiery, had actually become a mount one day. Little falcon, turn up ahead, there's treasure. Not long after, Du Xiaofu said to the space-rending demonic blade falcon. With the perception of his pulse soul, searching for treasures was much easier than searching for others. I've lived for over 1,000 years. Why am I still called Little Falcon? The space-rending demonic blade falcon was very unwilling. In any case, it was at the great circle of the beast sovereign realm. It could be considered somewhat famous in the beast region. It was already being looked down upon and barely qualified to be a mount, but now it was actually being called Little Falcon. However, the space-rending demonic blade falcon could only grumble in its heart. It didn't dare to say it out loud. It was really afraid that the savage purple-robed youth would do something to it. It could only obediently turn around and think to itself, does the heavenly beast tomb belong to your family? How did you know there was a precious medicine there? While the little falcon was grumbling in its heart, a vast canyon appeared ahead. There was a towering cliff with a waterfall pouring down. Roar, rumble, there were quite a few ferocious birds and strange beasts all around, and they were already roaring like thunder. Each of them fought fiercely, and their goal was to fight over a stalk of spirit medicine at the highest point of the cliff. Unfortunately, no one was able to fight over it. Once anyone got too close, they would all attack together. Thus, the situation fell into a stalemate. The spiritual medicine at the top of the cliff was extremely large. It was at least 20 feet tall and was a dazzling purple peach tree. This dazzling purple peach tree was covered in runes and had a dozen or so blooming flowers. The fragrance of the flowers filled the air, making one feel relaxed and happy. The peach blossoms were the size of an adult's palm. They were sparkling and translucent pink in color. The stamens were like clusters of secret runes gathered together. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree. It's actually a purple jade heaven spirit peach tree. It's actually blooming. I'm afraid it's about to bear fruit. Du Xiaofu looked from afar, but his eyes immediately shot out golden light. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree was a precious medicine, an extremely rare precious medicine. Just the leaves of the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree were a priceless spiritual medicine. It was said that consuming a single leaf of the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree could strengthen one's primordial spirit. If it was the fruit of the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree, it was said that a 9-star talisman master would treat it as a precious treasure. One could imagine what kind of treasure it was. It was a pity that the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree was too rare. It was said that there was only one Kyushu in total. It was in the immeasurable sect of the central state and was regarded as a precious treasure of the immeasurable sect. Unfortunately, it was said that the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree in the immeasurable sect had never borne fruit. Even if the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree wanted to bear fruit, it would take thousands of years to bear fruit. It would also take thousands of years to bloom and bear fruit. It was so precious that it could only be found by chance. Little falcon, snatch it for me. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree is mine. I'm going to transplant it back to bloom and bear fruit. Du Xiaofu shouted excitedly. His figure was like lightning. When he finished speaking, he had already rushed toward the cliff. Bandit. Looking at Du Xiaofu's back, the purple eyes of the purple flame demonic phoenix fluctuated. After a long time, she gently opened her mouth and said 2 words. The human in front of her could be considered to have some reputation outside, but he was more like a bandit. At this moment, the purple flame demonic phoenix couldn't help but feel a little regretful. If she had known that this guy was like this in private, she wouldn't have let him get close to little Xingxing. She didn't know what would happen to little Xingxing because of him. Therefore, in the depths of her heart, the purple flame demonic phoenix had even secretly decided that once she found little Xingxing this time, she would definitely not let little Xingxing stay by that bandit's side. Although fighting over treasures was all too common in the world of cultivators, the purple flame demonic phoenix could naturally understand that this was an ownerless item. However, for some reason, the purple flame demonic phoenix found this guy to be an eyesore. His natural bandit appearance made her unhappy. Chapter 1242. Bang, bang, bang. As Du Xiaofu rushed out, golden light burst out and swept directly toward the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree at the highest point of the cliff. Roar! The surrounding demonic beasts immediately discovered Du Xiaofu's figure. The demonic beasts that were entangled in a chaotic battle immediately burst out bright runes and roared as they pounced on Du Xiaofu. Naturally, they wouldn't let anyone get ahead of them and fish in troubled waters. Who dares to stop me? Du Xiaofu shouted loudly, and the golden light on his body became even brighter. The mysterious runes of the talismans flashed, and he forcefully charged forward with the strength of his physical body. He ignored all the attacks and swept in all directions, as if he was in an unstoppable state. Bang, bang, bang. Those demonic beasts that attacked Du Xiaofu couldn't keep up with Du Xiaofu's speed. Instead, their attacks were chaotic and caused accidental injuries. They were also forcefully shaken off by Du Xiaofu's physical strength. A series of deep sonic booms resounded, and then huge demonic beasts fell from the sky one after another. It was a tragic sight. No one could stop Du Xiaofu as he traversed the vast sky. He directly climbed to the top of the cliff with an unparalleled and domineering momentum. A few streaks of golden light swept out from his hand and directly intertwined with each other as they landed on the top of the cliff, shattering the cliff around the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree. Rise, Du Xiaofu shouted as the last claw print swept out. The golden light covered the ground and pulled out a piece of rocky land with a diameter of dozens of feet from the cliff. Rumble. Suddenly, the cliff trembled as a piece of land with a diameter of dozens of feet was pulled out by Du Xiaofu like a small island. At this moment, Du Xiaofu was like a giant cauldron as he held the island-like piece of land with one hand. The appearance of this scene was extremely shocking to the eyes, causing the surrounding demonic beasts that were caught off guard to be instantly dumbfounded. No demonic beast knew where the human-shaped young man came from. He was actually so domineering and powerful, with the spirit of pulling up mountains and rivers. So fierce. Little Falcon originally wanted to see a joke and find a chance to escape, so it didn't follow Du Xiaofu at all. However, after seeing the scene in a short time, looking at the purple-robed young man who had the power to pull up mountains and rivers, Little Falcon was secretly a little shocked. Collect. After pulling out the cliff and the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree, Du Xiaofu immediately called out the ancient desolate space and stored the purple jade heaven spirit peach tree into it. The purple jade heaven spirit peach tree itself was a precious treasure, but the most precious treasure after it bore fruit. At this moment, the heaven spirit peach tree had bloomed and was about to bear, so Du Xiaofu didn't want to let it go. Du Xiaofu's attainments in medicine and talisman master were definitely not low, but he knew that not every place could nourish such a precious treasure like the heaven spirit peach tree. If he wanted to transplant it somewhere else, it might not necessarily survive, so he simply moved the surrounding ground away. However, Du Xiaofu didn't expect that he would inadvertently cause such a scene, which made many demonic beasts dumbfounded. An ancient and boundless aura fluctuated, and a misty light flashed. The heaven spirit peach tree was stored in Du Xiaofu's ancient, desolate space, and then disappeared between his eyebrows. "Boy, hand over the treasure!" Roar. Just as Du Xiaofu put away the ancient, desolate space, a roar was heard and a terrifying aura suddenly spread out. A huge flood dragon hundreds of feet long appeared in the sky above the cliff. Its huge and long body stretched out in the sea of clouds, and its ferocious eyes looked down at Du Xiaofu ruthlessly and coldly. "You dare steal from me? Hand it over your granny's bear." Du Xiaofu was furious. To Du Xiaofu, anything that fell into his hands was already his. Now that the flood dragon wanted to fight, to Du Xiaofu, it was no different from trying to steal from him. Boom! Suddenly, Du Xiaofu stomped his foot on the ground, causing the cliff to rumble and tremble. Golden light burst out, and countless rocks poured down from the cliff, directly rushing towards the giant dragon. "You're courting death." The flood dragon was furious. It was a shimmering flood dragon, one of the kings of the beast region. It possessed the bloodline of dragons and was extremely powerful. The scales on its huge body immediately stood on end, and its aura surged. It exploded with a ferocious aura. Its body was huge, but it was as fast as lightning. Its huge tail whipped back, fiercely sweeping through the air towards Du Xiaofu. Rumble. Its huge tail exploded with resplendent light, like a huge pillar of lightning. It suddenly swept through the air, covering Du Xiaofu. Its huge tail slammed into the towering cliff below. The terrifying tail swept across, blasting apart the towering mountain peak. The waterfall was cut in half, and rocks were sent flying in torrents. The sound of explosions rang out incessantly. It was as fast as lightning, so fast that some of the demonic beasts cried out in alarm. They also sucked in a breath of cold air for the purple-robed youth. If the flood dragon's tail whipped him, his body would probably be smashed to pieces. A peak transcendent shimmering flood dragon. The little falcon's eyes trembled. That was a peak transcendent shimmering flood dragon, an expert from the beast region. It had encountered it before and was deeply afraid of it. "Is that guy dead?" The little falcon guessed that the purple-robed youth had suffered a calamity. The shimmering flood dragon was not to be trifled with. But while the little falcon was guessing, the waterfall that had been cut in half by the shimmering flood dragon's tail was restored. The water flowed down in a straight line, and a tall and straight figure was enveloped in golden light. Not a single drop of water could enter. Heavens! Suddenly, some of the demonic beasts cried out in alarm. They had seen the shimmering flood dragon's tail enter the crack in the cliff, but it didn't come out. Only now did they see clearly that not only was the purple-robed youth unharmed, but he was also holding the shimmering flood dragon's tail in place with a golden claw. "Oh!" The shimmering flood dragon roared ferociously. It released a terrifying aura, and its eyes revealed a hint of fear. At this moment, the shimmering flood dragon discovered that no matter how it struggled, it was unable to break free from its tail. The tyrannical aura that was faintly emitted from the other party's body caused its Yuan spirit to involuntarily tremble. Unable to break free from its tail, the shimmering flood dragon could only twist its body around. Its ferocious mouth spewed out a ferocious aura as its roar shook the air. It bared its fangs and brandished its claws as it bit down at Du Xiaofu. "It's just a stinking bug. Get down." Du Xiaofu stood on top of the broken waterfall and waved his claw that was holding the shimmering flood dragon's tail. He lifted the shimmering flood dragon's body and flung it down like a snake. It was incomparably tyrannical. Swish! The shimmering flood dragon, which was originally pouncing towards Du Xiaofu, was pitifully flung away. It was then flung down from the air by its tail. Bang! The flood dragon's head first landed in the valley below the cliff, causing the ground to shake and the rivers to break. "Who told you to steal from me? Who told you to be arrogant? Who told you to provoke this emperor?" Du Xiaofu let out several angry roars. Golden light erupted as he used his domineering aura to forcefully suppress the shimmering flood dragon. He held the shimmering flood dragon's tail and didn't let go. Like a little snake, He swung the shimming flood dragon around 5 or 6 times in a row. Rumble. The valley below the cliff was completely broken. Everywhere was a mess. The cliff was on the verge of collapse. Finally, it completely collapsed. As for the pitiful shimming flood dragon, it let out a series of miserable howls. By the time it landed, it was already on the verge of death. At this moment, the shimming flood dragon's body was dripping with blood. Its scales were shattered, and in some places, flesh and bones could be seen. The shimming flood dragon, a transcendent beast sovereign, a king of the beast region, was now like a child without a mother. It was trampled into a giant worm. Aowo! The dying shimming flood dragon was still roaring. It glared at Du Xiaofu and shouted, "I don't care who you are. The shimming flood dragon clan definitely won't let you off. Granny Bear, you dare threaten this emperor?" Du Xiaofu was furious. He lifted the shimming flood dragon's tail and fiercely swung it. Once again, the shimming flood dragon was sent flying, blood gushing out of its mouth. "Who told you to threaten me?" Du Xiaofu appeared atop the shimming flood dragon's sinister head. His domineering aura suppressed the shimming flood dragon until it couldn't move. Then, his golden fist landed on the top of the shimming flood dragon's head. Bang! When the fist landed, the sinister head of the shimming demon flood dragon was turned into meat paste. The shimming flood dragon definitely had an impressive physical defense. But even so, it couldn't withstand Du Xiaofu's fist. The shimming flood dragon's head was smashed into a bloody pulp. It couldn't be any more dead. All of this happened too suddenly. For a moment, the surroundings fell silent. Roar! After a short moment of silence, the surrounding demonic beasts roared, and the surrounding demonic beasts quietly retreated. Little Falcon, who was not far away, sucked in a breath of cold air. Its eyes were lifeless for a long time. Little Falcon never imagined that the purple-robed youth would be able to kill a peak, transcendent-level shimming flood dragon with a single punch. This made Little Falcon think of itself. If it hadn't agreed to become his mount, its head would have been turned into a bloody pulp by now. Thinking of this, Little Falcon shuddered. It immediately regained its senses. At least it had managed to keep its life. Whoosh! After killing a transcendent-level shimming flood dragon, Du Xiaofu didn't stay idle. First, he collected the shimming flood dragon's blood like it was a treasure. Now that the shimming flood dragon was dead, its blood would soon solidify and lose its effect. As for the shimming flood dragon's blood, it was the blood of a peak transcendent beast sovereign. Its value was self-evident. As a miser, Du Xiaofu treasured it greatly. Previously, everything in the Qingquan bag was destroyed by the heavenly earth-shattering thunder. Although all the benefits went to him in the end, Du Xiaofu still felt heartache. Chapter 1243. Translator. H2DH2 Mr. After collecting the shimming flood dragon's blood, Du Xiaofu continued digging up bones, extracting the dragon's tendons, and collecting scales. These were all treasures. None of the surrounding demonic beasts dared to approach. They could only watch in fear. More and more demonic beasts gathered. Some of the demonic beasts did not know what was going on and could only watch curiously. However, when they saw such a huge flood dragon being skinned alive, they all sucked in a breath of cold air. After tidying everything up, Du Xiaofu finally smiled as he gazed at the enormous shimming demon dragon corpse in front of him and softly muttered, "Don't waste it. Eat it. It's a tonic." Du Xiaofu didn't want to waste the flood dragon's meat. The flesh of a transcendent shimming flood dragon was comparable to extraordinary spiritual medicines. His golden rock technique could directly refine it and use it for his own benefit. Thus, Du Xiaofu directly cut off several large chunks of the flood dragon's meat and cleaned the bones. After washing them clean under the waterfall, he searched his body for a long time and finally found a medicinal cauldron. Stewing the flood dragon's soup with ease, Du Xiaofu set it up on the barbecue table and prepared to roast the flood dragon's meat. The medicinal cauldron in Du Xiaofu's Qingquan pouch had already been reduced to ashes by the earth-shattering thunder. This medicinal cauldron was something Du Xiaofu had found outside the beast region. He'd found it in quite a few Qingquan pouches. Savage, too savage. Seeing Du Xiaofu not only skinned the shimming flood dragon alive, but also prepared to roast its meat. The surrounding demonic beasts went from fear to terror. Some of them even began to flee, afraid that the purple-robed youth would take a fancy to their meat on a whim. The purple-flamed demonic phoenix had long since landed on a rock, far away from the other demonic beasts. Its eyes were fixed on Du Xiaofu. Occasionally, there would be a ripple in its gaze before it returned to normal. Whoosh whoosh. Suddenly, just as Du Xiaofu was about to start cooking the stew and roasting the meat, the sound of wind breaking suddenly came from the front, and a large number of extremely powerful auras came over. Roar. Amidst the sound of wind breaking, there were many low roars of beasts, and their auras were extremely powerful and shocking. The auras were so powerful that they seemed to want to freeze space. Wind and clouds immediately surged in half of the sky, and Du Xiaofu also raised his head and looked over. Thus, Du Xiaofu saw dozens of powerful demonic beasts floating in the air. Leading the pack was a strange tiger that was several feet in size, emitting a terrifying aura. There was also a towering human-shaped giant bear. Its body was no different from a giant, but its head was that of a bear, and its aura was powerful. Beside the two leading demonic beasts, there were many demonic beasts and battle servants. Their auras were also very vigorous. None of them were weak. Any one of them, if placed on Kyushu, would be enough to cause the clouds to move. My bear paw and tiger bone stew. When Du Xiaofu saw the bearman and the strange tiger, his eyes widened, and a sinister smile appeared on his face. Du Xiaofu had encountered these demonic beasts on his way here. When he happened to pass by, he happened to hear that the strange tiger and the bearman wanted to take him as a battle servant. When the strange tiger and the bearman appeared, their gazes swept over the surroundings. In the end, their gazes landed on Du Xiaofu, who was just about to start a fire to roast the meat. When they saw the skinless scale dragon's corpse, the strange tiger and the bearman's eyes were filled with confusion. They didn't know what had happened, but they didn't pay it much attention. It's the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king. When they saw the strange tiger and the bearman, many demonic beasts in the surroundings immediately cried out in alarm. Some demonic beasts were even more afraid of the strange tiger and the bearman than Du Xiaofu. The fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king were absolute giants of the beast region. Their names had shaken the entire beast region several hundred years ago. Although the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king had cultivated for over 1,000 years, according to the beast cultivation timeline, they could still be considered young adults. However, they'd recently broken through from the transcendental sovereign level to the sovereign of origin level. Rumor had it that the fantasy tiger king was a member of the fire tiger bloodline. It was one of the top existences in the tiger clan, only slightly inferior to the white tiger bloodline. When the fantasy tiger king was young, it accidentally ate a mysterious heavenly treasure. In the end, it mutated and gained the ability to use soul attacks. Its name spread throughout the clan, and it was difficult to find a match among demonic beasts of the same level. In the beast region, its name spread far and wide, and it became a powerhouse. The violent bear king wasn't bad either. His true form was the violent, earth-shattering bear, ranked near the top of the heavenly beast list. His bloodline was already very high. Rumor had it that he'd once received the legacy of an ancient bear expert and obtained the bear clan's long-lost divine abilities. Among demonic beasts of the same level, he could dominate the world. It could be said that only the dragons, phoenixes, white tigers, black tortoises, and a few extremely rare pure-blooded demonic beasts of the primordial era could cause the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king to fear them. As for demonic beasts of the beast region, even famous demonic beasts feared the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king. Not good. That's the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king. Little Falcon's eyes trembled. If it was afraid of the shimming flood dragon, then it was absolutely terrified of the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king. For better or for worse, Little Falcon was one of the kings of the beast region. However, it knew that compared to the fantasy tiger king and the violent bear king, it was nothing. The fantasy tiger king and the savage bear king were absolutely terrifying existences. Many of the Yao beasts following them were overlords of the beast region who weren't any weaker than them. Little Falcon couldn't help but worry for Du Xiaofu. However, it was also secretly delighted. The fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King had clearly come for that kid. If it could take care of him, it'd be free again. Let's do it. You've done me a huge favor. Thinking up to this point, Little Falcon couldn't help but feel a little excited. It hoped the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King would attack as soon as possible. Were you the one who took the bones of my Tiger Clan's ancestor? The fantasy Tiger King stared at Du Xiaofu and bared its fangs. Its aura was terrifying. Now it's mine. Du Xiaofu looked up at the fantasy Tiger King and nodded. He knew these demonic beasts had come prepared. They'd come looking for him on purpose. Du Xiaofu secretly probed the two demonic beasts' auras. They'd probably just broken through to the Sovereign of Origin not long ago. The Sovereign of Origin's level of cultivation was already terrifying. However, it wasn't enough to make Du Xiaofu fear them. When the fantasy Tiger King heard Du Xiaofu's words, his tone short and sharp, and his gaze completely devoid of fear, a trace of astonishment flashed through its eyes. Glancing at the nearby space-rending blade falcon that was riddled with wounds, the phantom Tiger King finally stared back at Du Xiaofu. Its voice was sharp and clear as it said, "Looks like you do have some strength. How about this? Hand over the secret bone and become my battle servant. Otherwise, your soul will be destroyed." Du Xiaofu looked up and pointed at the fantasy Tiger King. Then, he pointed at the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King. He said indifferently, "And you, the two of you will follow me from now on and be my followers. Otherwise, I'll be eating tiger bone soup and bear paws today." Du Xiaofu's voice wasn't loud, but it reverberated far and wide. It was loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. As soon as Du Xiaofu's words came out, everyone was stunned. Many demonic beasts stared at Du Xiaofu, dumbfounded. They thought they'd heard wrong. Although the purple-robed youth had slaughtered the shimming, fiendish dragon, none of the demonic beasts present believed that the purple-robed youth still stood a chance against the fantasy Tiger King and the violent Bear King. However, he was still so bold and arrogant. This was clearly a provocation. "You want us to be your followers?" The violent Bear King stared straight at Du Xiaofu. His voice was so loud that it shook the space. He stared at Du Xiaofu with wide eyes, as if he thought he'd heard wrong. The violent Bear King stared at Du Xiaofu with eyes that were like whirlpools filled with runes. He gave off a violent aura that could distort space for no reason. The violent Bear King also had the aura of a king. Even if he just stood there quietly, he could make many demonic beasts tremble and submit to him. Not bad. The two of you are qualified to be my followers. Du Xiaofu looked up and nodded seriously. The two demonic beasts wanted to make him their battle servant. Now that they'd come looking for trouble, he couldn't let them go.